Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 10th, 2025 Montgomery County Council meeting. We are here this evening to listen to residents' feedback on the University Boulevard Corridor Plan. The plan covers approximately 3.5 miles of University Boulevard east and west. It is MD 193 between the Capitol Beltway and Amherst Avenue in Wheaton. The planning board draft includes recommendations on land use, zoning, urban design, housing, transportation, parks and trails, historic resources, public open spaces, community facilities, and the environment. The planning board draft can be viewed on the planning board's website. A Planning, Housing, and Parks Committee work session is scheduled for September 29th, 2025. Those wishing to submit material for the council's consideration should do so by the close of business on September 22nd, 2025. However, your feedback is always welcomed via our website at any time. As a reminder of our public hearing testimony guidelines, your comments must be limited to issues relevant to the public hearing topic for which you are testifying and are appropriate for a public meeting. You will hear a tone when your time is up, and we appreciate everyone abiding by their allotted time. I appreciate everyone who is here in the audience today, respecting those who are testifying this evening. We have about 60 people registered to speak, and we want to be sure that we can hear everyone's testimony. I will also say that we have our colleague, Councilmember Sales, listening in on Zoom this evening. And so we are going to kick off, and our first speaker this evening is our County Executive, Mark Elridge.
I just want to, in advance, tell you I'm going to have to leave after this because I have yet another thing to go to tonight, not about this. So let me start with my testimony. I'm here testifying because I want to make a point about the seriousness of the fundamental problems with the University Boulevard Corridor Plan and about the broader direction of planning in Montgomery County. This plan is presented as necessary to meet future housing needs.
A long evening ahead of us, as I said, and we want to hear from every single person. That is why we are here this evening. That is actually why, even though the setup is a little strange, we picked Blair High School to be here to accommodate as many people who would be here. It is another reason why we're not doing just one meeting, but we're doing 2 public hearings on this plan. And so I ask that regardless of whether or not you agree or disagree with the speaker, that we show respect for everyone and that that the council is able to hear everyone's testimony. My apologies to the county executive. If we can restart the clock and you can begin again. Thank you.
I'll go to my second paragraph. This plan is being presented as necessary to meet future housing needs, but the numbers in Montgomery County tell a very different story. Our existing master plans, which this council and previous councils have passed over time, contain enough zoning for over 120,000 units and more than 300,000 residents. Yet the county forecasts project just 200,000 new residents over the next 25 years. I don't make these forecasts up. These forecasts come from Park and Planning and are verified by COG. That means we have more zoning capacity than we need. Despite this fact, planning officials are pushing forward with corridor plans that would upzone existing neighborhoods unnecessarily, creating a false impression that there's not enough room for future growth. It is flat out not true. But this approach carries serious consequences. Instead of focusing development in our designated centers like Wheaton and Silver Spring and the 23 activity centers in the county, communities already planned for growth around metro and bus hubs, the corridor plan would disperse density into established single-family areas. That shift undermines smart growth policy, pulling higher-income households away from activity centers and worsening economic segregation. It also threatens affordability. Upzoning increases land values, making redevelopment more profitable for developers, but less affordable for residents. Many who live in or near University Boulevard already rely on naturally occurring affordable housing. Redevelopment could displace these residents and erase neighborhoods serving businesses. The plan offers no safeguards, such as no net loss of affordable housing. Lack of infrastructure planning is just as concerning. The plan assumes reliance on the future BRT transit line that is not even funded for planning or construction and would be rated as probably the lowest priority line of all the BRT lines. Meanwhile, there's been no sufficient traffic analysis despite known congestion issues along University Boulevard and Colesville Road. Without proper staging, which the county got rid of 10 years ago, added density means more cars, more traffic, and more strain on schools, road, and county services. Finally, this plan weakens community involvement. In the past, planning was community-based with advisory boards ensuring broad input. In fact, residents used to vote on master plans. I served on the sector plan committee for Silver Spring. Today, residents feel cut out of the process, which they are, while single-family neighborhoods are unfairly cast as obstacles to progress. Residents support housing and affordability goals, but also want smarter planning that strengthens our community without worsening traffic, displacement, or environmental impacts. The better path forward is to use the capacity we already have and return to inclusive, community-based planning. For these reasons, the University Boulevard Corridor Plan should not move ahead. If I was giving recommendations to the planning board, I'd just recommend they look at the places that have not been built out and they look at the excessive number of high-rises they've zoned for in the county. Thank you very much, and I'm sure I'll hear from you later.
Thank you to the county executive. Next up, we have our Director of the Planning Board, Artie Harris.
Good evening, Council President Stewart and members of the County Council. I'm Artie Harris, Chair of the Montgomery County Planning Board. The Planning Board recommended approval of the University Boulevard Corridor Plan on June 12th. The University Boulevard Corridor Plan was initiated in response to the persistent challenges affecting this vital segment of Montgomery County's transportation network. Despite this corridor's prominence as a major transportation route and its role as serving some of the region's highest bus ridership, the area has minimal public or private investment or growth over the past several decades. The University Corridor Boulevard Plan seeks to advance a vision that responds to both community needs and broader countywide and regional goals. The plan emphasizes the importance of fostering a safe, walkable environment that offers people convenient access to amenities and services, whether by walking, rolling, bicycling, transit, or car. Expanding affordable and diverse housing options, improving infrastructure, and supporting sustainable, inclusive growth are at the core of the University Boulevard Corridor Plan. The goal of our recommendations is to make this area a safer, more walkable, and accessible for everyone, with opportunities for more community amenities and greater housing choices for residents of all backgrounds and all income levels for different life stages. I want to thank the planning staff for the incredible level of outreach conducted during this plan. We are continually working to improve.
Excuse me, no, please stop the clock. We are here tonight to hear from everyone. I am asking everyone to allow people to speak. All right, we're in a high school, and the custodial staff is here this evening and needs to prepare this high school for children tomorrow to learn. We promised them that we would be out at a certain time. I am asking everyone to please allow each person to give their testimony uninterrupted so that we can hear them. Thank you.
We are continually working to improve our outreach and engagement with each plan. We invest in a significant effort in working to hear from the community and synthesize their requests with the guidings of Thrive Montgomery 2050 and our other guiding plans. Since 2022, the planning staff have held more than 20 community meetings, participated in over 20 neighborhood events and festivals, and shared information through bilingual letters, postcards, and flyers. Staff also organized small group conversations and knocked on 1,000 doors, which led to nearly 250 conversations in 6 different languages. Since the Planning Board's public hearing in February, as part of our continued outreach, planning staff have engaged directly with over 30 community members and local leaders, many of whom represent community and faith-based organizations. These conversations have taken place through multiple avenues, including meet with the planner request form, introductions during community meetings, and direct follow-up discussions conducted both virtually and in person. These meetings have occurred at both various locations and in around the plan area, allowing us to continue to gather valuable input and perspectives from diverse residents who called this quarter home. We thank all the residents for the time they contributed to help us refine our recommendations. In closing, I urge the council members to approve the planning board draft of the University Boulevard Corridor Plan. And the planning board and staff look forward to working with the council and council staff on this important and in the coming months. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair Harris. All right, I you know what? I want to tell you a story. So a couple of weeks ago, I got an email from a resident who was at a public hearing. And she said to me, you know, I didn't testify that day. And she said, because a lot of people in the audience were booing or cheering. And I felt very intimidated to get up and speak in front of the council. And I'm just going to ask one more time. You have your signs. Please be respectful of your neighbors. To get up here and to share your views can be daunting for some people. And we want to make sure that this is a place where everyone can feel comfortable coming up here and sharing their opinions with the council and this community. So I am asking you one more time to please, to not boo, to not clap, to just let people share their views and allow us to move forward with this hearing. Ms. Howe, you're next.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening, council members, and welcome to my Main Street. For the record, my name is Bridget Howe. I live about 2 miles west of here, just a block away from University Boulevard, in a tree-lined neighborhood that is close enough to the WTOP transmitter that I hear talk radio through my HVAC. I'm testifying today to share my wholehearted support of the University Boulevard Plan. First, I applaud many of the housing proposals that will promote housing of all types. The more varied housing options we allow in this county, the better we meet all of our residents' needs. Simply put, we need more housing, and every corridor or master plan is an opportunity to refine our playbook to get it done. The section of University where I live is in a wedge bordered by Georgia, Arcola, and University. The corner of the wedge is right at Northwood High School. That wedge includes almost every possible type of housing. There are mid-rise apartments, garden apartments, condos, single-family homes, high-rise towers, as well as restaurant, shopping, office space, and the Sligo Creek Trail. It's amazing, and that's why I live there. That side of the corridor is a great place to live that already has a diversity of housing that you're not likely to find in a whole lot of places in this county. Let's do more of that here. Second, I want to speak to the transportation elements of the plan. University Boulevard is a state highway and has been deadly for far too many pedestrians and cyclists. Anything we can do to engineer this road to recognize that its users are not only drivers in cars, but pedestrians, cyclists, and transit riders is a needed good. I would like to see this reimagining include protected sidewalks and bus and bike lanes, as well as other road diet measures. Next, you know I can't talk about any policy without thinking about schools. This corridor houses some pretty great schools. We're here at Blair tonight, but in 2 years we're going to be celebrating the opening of a brand new Northwood High School, which will be another landmark for the corridor. I urge the county and the school system to work closely together on making all the routes to schools in this corridor safe. A revitalized University Boulevard will encourage more students to walk and bike to school, and the parking lot forward construction that MCPS currently favors is not doing any favors to the community. Schools should be easily accessible. Finally, I want to share my perspective about the tenor of this public debate. Data shows that those who participate in public hearings are, like myself, older and whiter and wealthier than the average citizen of a resident of Montgomery County. In reality, the average resident of this corridor, and this is shown in the data the planning board shared, probably doesn't have the free time to engage because they're navigating public transit, which is inadequate. They're helping their kids with their homework. They're working multiple jobs to make ends meet. As you deliberate on this plan, I really hope that you don't just listen to the loudest, most disgruntled voices. I hope that you consider who is and isn't in this room testifying and make sure that you pay attention to all of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mark Clements.
Good evening, President Stewart and members of the County Council. My name is Mark Clements. I'm the Maryland Policy Manager for Greater Washington, a nonprofit promoting better land use and transportation policies throughout our region. GG Wash supports the University Boulevard Corridor Plan, finding it will enhance the transportation infrastructure, environmental resilience, and diversity of housing stock along the corridor. The county has solicited community feedback on this proposal many times in the last 3 years, culminating in a thoughtful and balanced approach activating this corridor that conscientiously avoids displacement or overloading public utilities and facilities. The plan accommodates new growth while making significant quality of life improvements that current and future residents will be able to enjoy for years to come. The plan organizes zoning changes around the proposed 5 bus rapid transit stops while enhancing the accompanying infrastructure to accommodate multiple modes of transportation. This will situate residents closer not just to amenities within their community, but also to job centers within the region. Walking, biking, and taking public transportation along University Boulevard will be safer and more efficient than ever, thanks to features such as landscape buffers and protected crosswalks. Reducing car dependency for short trips will also mitigate congestion and frustration for those who choose to travel by private automobile. The UBC plan not only enhances the attractiveness of nearby communities, but creates greater capacity for residents to live in them at price points they can afford. The R60 zoning category is no longer appropriate for the areas immediately fronting University Boulevard. Reclassifying those lots to commercial residential categories will allow for the development of small multifamily buildings and various missing middle housing types that conform to their surroundings without imperiling either the homes that stand there today or those tucked in neighborhoods off of University Boulevard. That the UBC plan manages to accomplish all of this while improving sustainability is truly laudable. Increased tree and ground cover along the corridor will mitigate the harms of air pollution and erosion, minimizing impervious surfaces, keeping runoff out of our waterways. The plan prioritizes native plants and sustainable building practices, resulting in the type of climate resilience that will benefit future generations. The UBC plan is not, as some opponents allege, a death knell for neighborhoods along University Boulevard. It will instead bring those communities closer to their full potential without leaving current residents out or behind. Greater Washington applauds the amount of care and detail that went into the creation of this plan and enthusiastically supports its implementation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all the speakers on Table 1. We'll now turn to Table 2, and we have Jeff Lesperance.
Thank you. Good evening, council members. I'm Jeff Lesperance, the president of the South Four Corners Citizens Association. South Four Corners comprises 1,152 households just across the way on the other side of Colesville Road, and is further bounded by the Beltway, Sligo Creek Parkway, Dennis Avenue, and the star of this show, University Boulevard. The proposed University Boulevard Corridor Plan raises significant concerns for our community, and while time is limited, I'll highlight some key objections. First, the street grid option. We fundamentally oppose any street grid concept, including the more connected network of town center streets, concept such as extending Gilmore Drive and connecting Sutherland and Rogout Roads to University Boulevard, and or connecting Lorraine Ave to Lexington Drive. Our resolution from September of 2024 made it clear. This will inevitably increase cut-through traffic, compromise pedestrian and bicycle safety, worsen parking, erode privacy, and could destroy vital neighborhood facilities like our post office and the Safeway. Even though the planning department withdrew an explicit street grid option, the plan's continued references to similar concepts are unacceptable. Any reintroduction of this idea will be met with strong objections. Next, immediate safety improvements. We strongly support safety improvements for pedestrians, bicyclists, and vehicles on University Boulevard and residential streets. These are long overdue and should not be tied to the UBC plan. Many safety projects, including the MDOT Pedestrian Safety Improvement Program for University Boulevard, can be implemented now without the need for extensive zoning changes or road redesigns. We must also ensure that road diets on University Boulevard do not simply divert traffic onto our narrow residential streets where children are more vulnerable. A comprehensive plan to mitigate neighborhood safety concerns independent of traffic diversion is crucial. Finally, parking and other diverted traffic. We oppose new commercial and housing development if it relies on our residential streets for overflow parking. The recent ZTA 2310 removed baseline parking requirements, but new residents and customers will still have vehicles, overwhelming our already limited on-street parking. The plan must clearly explain how excessive parking incursions into our neighborhoods will be prevented. Furthermore, we are deeply concerned that new developments along University Boulevard could have direct access to our residential streets, like Sutherland, Rogart, and Gilmore. This would divert significant traffic into our neighborhood. We need firm assurances that cars and trucks will not be allowed to access or leave properties along University Boulevard via these residential streets. In closing, this is just a subset of the feedback from this SFCCA. I invite all the council members to join us for further discussion in our neighborhood, perhaps at the SFC Front Porch Music Fest on Saturday, September 27th, because there are other things that bring a neighborhood together besides zoning, land use, and transportation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Aaron Droller.
Good evening, members of the Montgomery County Council. I am Aaron Droller, and I'm a resident of Silver Spring in the South Four Corners neighborhood. Thank you for the opportunity to present testimony on the University Boulevard Corridor Plan. I testify tonight in opposition to the plan. I recognize that the Council has recently passed ZTA 2502, and that is really now the framework that we are working under. Neighborhoods along the corridor are among the most impacted by that ZTA. The corridor plan permits redevelopment twice as deep into our neighborhoods as that ZTA. As an example, houses all along Gilmore Drive and Edgewood Avenue are directly impacted by the plan, but not under the ZTA. At the very least, the Council should conform all rezoning under the corridor plan to the ZTA so it permits no further intrusion into our neighborhoods than anywhere else in the county. The corridor plan is premised on the idea that our community can and should be made into a 15-minute community. This idea is a fundamental misunderstanding of how most people in our community live and work every day. People need their vehicles to live in our neighborhoods, and the Planning Board's attempts to force multimodal transit in this fashion will fail, while significantly reducing the quality of life along the corridor. To that end, I am asking that you reject the proposed dedicated bus lane and the removal of existing traffic lanes under any proposed street grid option in the plan. Whatever minimal benefit, if there is one, of a dedicated bus lane may have for buses moving down the corridor is completely outweighed by the damage to vehicular traffic flow the closer one gets to the Beltway and Montgomery Blair High School. The bus wouldn't even accommodate the very popular Metro bus routes, so we would still have to deal with buses in vehicular lanes under this plan, further showing how little benefit the bus lane actually provides to the community. Further, if safety is truly a cornerstone of this plan, it makes no sense to implement any sort of street grid option that connects University to quiet neighborhood streets where children play. This should be completely off the table, and any attempts to reconfigure streets like Gilmore or Tenbrook Drive should be eliminated from the plan. The Planning Board cannot be given any leeway to even consider these options, as it has become very clear over the last few years that the Board does not take community input seriously when considering its larger plans. Finally, this Council made it clear that eminent domain was not required under the ZTA. Under the corridor plan, however, eminent domain will apparently be necessary for installation of a bike lane. Removing portions of front yards and driveways for a bike lane that will likely be little used is unacceptable. We already see every day how underutilized the bike lane is on Old Georgetown Road. The Planning Board cannot show how we should expect any different result here. Please remove it from the plan. Thank you for your time and for your service to Montgomery County.
Thank you. Michael DeLong.
Thank you. My name is Michael DeLong. I'm a 35-year-old and I live in Silver Spring. I'm involved in several different kinds of advocacy work and care deeply about making Montgomery County a better and more affordable place to live. I strongly support the University Boulevard Corridor Plan, which is going to rezone certain areas to promote more housing, improve bicycle and pedestrian safety, and prioritize affordable and diverse housing that will bring down costs. While I live just to the west of downtown Silver Spring, I spend a certain amount of time in this area. I love hiking along the Northwest Branch Trail. I often go to the Woodmore Pastry Shop and a whole bunch of other places. And a few years ago, I decided to put down roots in Montgomery County and buy a home. Unfortunately, housing prices were incredibly expensive, and after a lot of searching and hard work, I finally found a condominium that I love, but a lot of other young residents were not so fortunate and have had to leave the county. Montgomery County is facing a housing crisis. The median sale price of a home is about $660,000, which is way out of reach for most residents. Rents have been going up a lot, putting strain on people's budgets, and the University Boulevard Corridor Plan does a lot of things, but one of its best features is that it's going to increase the housing supply and diverse kinds of housing. It'll rezone certain corridor-fronting residential blocks, and it also emphasizes different housing options for residents of all ages and income levels. I think that Montgomery County needs more housing of all kinds. That includes single-family homes, townhouses, duplexes, courtyard apartments, small apartment buildings, and even larger apartment buildings. And the plan before you, I hope it will promote that housing and help bring down costs for both homeowners and renters. These neighborhoods are really lovely places to live, and a bunch of different housing types. It's going to make it easier for people who are not very wealthy to live there. People, individuals, and families who can't afford single-family homes, but who can afford like townhouses or condominiums or apartments, or who rent, they deserve economic opportunity. And so I think the plan's also going to disproportionately help low-income residents as well as Black and Latino residents who often get priced out of housing markets and kind of overlooked. And I also think that it's going to help the environment because promoting more walkable neighborhoods, more foot traffic, more pedestrian safety, more use of public transportation. So, and community input is important, and I thank you all for being here and taking time out of your evening to do this, but community input also shouldn't be used as a way to like exclude people. And so by building more housing and welcoming others, we can contribute to Montgomery County being a place with economic opportunity for everyone. We can reduce home prices, we can make neighborhoods more welcoming, and ensure that the county is a great place for everyone to live. So, thank you.
Thank you. Allison Marcus.
Council members, thank you for the opportunity to speak today, and thank you for listening. I live only a handful of houses outside what is the actual plan area. I appreciate the attempt to improve the University Boulevard area. However, I cannot support this misguided plan. The plan seeks to ensure that exclusively single-family zoning is not a barrier to providing housing options. However, the plan seeks to only build high-rise, read luxury, apartment complexes and tall townhouses, which often sell or rent for at least as much money as the existing 50-plus-year-old housing. And this housing stock is already far less than the condo that Mr. DeLong next to me bought himself. Meanwhile, MCPS's overgrown Springmill Fieldhouse property along Camp Mill Road, just outside the plan area, would be a fantastic location for a garden-style apartment complex, which would be more affordable than a University Boulevard high-rise. This is a quiet location families and senior citizens would love and would be able to afford without forcing them to live on a busy and stressful main road. The plan also seeks to keep the dedicated bus lanes, which have been grossly underutilized. Buses travel on University Boulevard at most every 5 to 10 minutes. Meanwhile, the plan doesn't recognize carpooling as a mode of transportation. Carpooling, not mentioned in the plan. If a restricted lane remains on University Boulevard, this lane should become a high-occupancy vehicle lane. My 8-seater minivan, which often carries more passengers than the buses on University Boulevard, is stuck in the same traffic as single-occupancy cars. This is a gross oversight and should be immediately corrected. The plan expects that families making $100,000 per year, which is 80% of the median income of $124,000, will elect to live in high-rise apartments, eschew cars, and use buses as their primary mode of transportation. This assumption is absurd. As for bicyclists, they rarely use University Boulevard, even though they usually have an entire travel lane to themselves. They also rarely used University Boulevard during the failed bike lane pilot. Bicycles remain plentiful, however, on the established trails in the vicinity of University Boulevard. Thus, there's no reason to leave bike lanes in the plan. I believe the channelized right turn lane should remain from Arcola to University. This channelized right turn lane prevents a half-mile-plus traffic backup. Speed limits should not be decreased on any area streets, and University Boulevard should be restored to a 40-mile-per-hour speed limit. It's one of the few major east-west travel routes on this side of the county, and it should stay a road on which cars can easily travel. Removing lanes from both University Boulevard and Randolph Road makes east-west travel on the eastern side of the county very difficult. Please reconsider these decisions. Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez published a letter requesting that the Camp Mill Shopping Center be removed from the plan. However, a plan has yet to be amended. The shopping center is a true community resource and its zoning should not be changed. Please listen to Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez and leave the Kentmill Shopping Center out of the plan. Our property taxes have increased by 33% in the last few years, partially because the county regularly wastes taxpayer dollars to develop plans like this by changing roads in ways area residents don't want. Please stop being irresponsible with our money.
Thank you. Those are the first two tables. I'll call down now. Over here on table 1 is John Holden, Marlene Macias, Jeff Snyder, Harriet Quinn. That's table 1. Table 2 is Tal Karem, James Williamson, Sharon Canavan, and Jonathan Agwan. Okay. When John Holden is ready, you can begin.
I am John Holden, a 22-year resident of South Four Corners. Everyone can support the aspirational goals in this UBC plan, but the details and realities matter. And there's a lack of real analysis of the impacts on our suburban communities, especially for the significant changes that were made by the planning board after the end of the public input period. For example, the plan now recommends a dedicated bus lane to go through the Four Corners intersection. And as you heard Monday from the planners, they didn't have the time or resources to study the impact of the dedicated bus lanes on the left turns onto Colesville Road and the increased congestion. You need to send this plan back to the planning board for real impact analysis. Where analysis was performed, the results show how unrealistic the plan vision is. Planning staff told you yesterday about expanding the tree canopy and designing University Boulevard as a cool corridor. They apparently ignored the August 4 memo from the Department of Environmental Protection, which states, and I quote, "Increasing allowed density of development along the University Boulevard Corridor will almost certainly result in a decrease in tree canopy and an increase in impervious surfaces. Both results will contribute to an increased heat island effect, which is detrimental to human health and will also have negative impacts such as reduced absorption of stormwater, reduced filtration of air, particulate matter, and reduced habitat." Still quoting the memo, "While the stated goals are commendable, many of the proposed plans may contradict these objectives. Increasing the tree canopy alongside higher development density will be nearly impossible without specific mechanisms. Although developing a cool corridor is recommended, the suggested housing types will likely lead to more driveways, more parking, and less space for features that contribute to a cool corridor. Minimizing impervious surfaces is mentioned, but will be difficult or impossible to achieve with the recommended changes to housing density." That's the end of the quote. "My neighbors and I support changes to improve safety on University Boulevard, but not at the expense of safety within our neighborhoods for both pedestrians and vehicles due to cut-through traffic using more connected streets. The county needs affordable housing, but this plan will provide market-rate housing, upzoning the most affordable properties near the corridor. This UBC plan is based on a BRT that has not even been studied, much less funded, designed, or built. There is time for you to listen to your constituents and to send this plan back to the planning board for real analysis and to get real community input on the many significant changes made recently. The trust of the community depends on it."
Thank you. Ms. Marlene Macias here? Nope, I'll call it. Next, we'll go to Jeff Snyder.
Good evening. Thank you, council members, for holding this hearing in the community. I'm Jeffrey Snyder, speaking on behalf of the Woodmore Pinecrest Citizens Association, WPCA, where I'm a member of the executive board and serve as treasurer. WPCA serves more than 1,160 households here in the Four Corners community. The borders of our neighborhood are I-495, Northwest Branch, Colesville Road, and University Boulevard. Here's the bottom line. The WPCA does not support this draft plan because the planning department has either not performed or is unwilling to provide residents with a detailed analysis of anticipated impacts, despite our neighborhood's many requests to do so. We're therefore requesting that the appropriate impact analysis be performed by the planning department and meaningfully shared with our community. Furthermore, we have a number of specific concerns with this plan. Reducing traffic lanes will make traffic and cut-through traffic worse, not better. The UBC plan proposes removal of 1 to 2 travel lanes in each direction along the corridor, while also requiring some private property for additional right-of-way. The plan claims to increase safety for the residents, but our neighborhood is concerned that the reduction of travel lanes will divert back to traffic onto our already crowded neighborhood streets, making it less safe for residents and students within the neighborhood. The plan also proposes upzoning properties to encourage redevelopment with more than 4,000 additional residential units within a plan boundary that currently has 3,500 units of various housing types. This rezoning proposal comes after your recently adopted ZTA 25-02, which already allows more building types on the properties on the corridor. The new UBC proposal includes upzoning 536 of the most affordable homes in the area to the Commercial Residential Neighborhood Zone, CRN, upzoning 9 religious institutions as houses of worship to the Commercial Residential Town, CRT Zone, and increasing density on all existing commercial properties. Therefore, we don't support the upzoning of the homes within our neighborhood to the CRN zone, since ZTA 25-02 already changed the standards for the homes that are on the corridor. The Woodmore Shopping Center is a historic, essential, and treasured community resource worth preserving. Planning Board also recommends redevelopment to 10 stories of the Woodmore Shopping Center, which has been a vital part of our community for more than 85 years. There are not many shopping centers in the county or state that have survived for that long and are still thriving with 99% of space leased. Removal of the center would not only lead to the loss of dozens of small businesses and jobs, but would also force residents to travel further for some essential services. We therefore request that the council restore the planning staff's recommendation that the Woodmore Shopping Center be evaluated for inclusion in the master plan for historic preservation. Infrastructure to support increased density, as I think we all know, is very costly. It may never materialize and is not planned to arrive in time to mitigate the impacts of this plan. Zoning recommendations in the plan are based on distance from proposed flash BRT stop locations. However, given project schedules for the other 8 BRT projects, as well as budget funding challenges, the proposed BRT line for University isn't likely to be completed within the time horizon of the UBC plan. Regarding school capacity, we're in Montgomery Blair High School today. My daughter's in 9th grade here. It's the largest public school in the state. Oh, I ran out of time. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you so much. Harriet Quinn.
Good evening. Thank you, council members, for coming to our community to hold this very important hearing about planning in our area. I'm Harriet Quinn, a resident here in Four Corners. I wear a few hats, but tonight I'm speaking as an individual. My views are my own based on 20 years of volunteering during my free time on planning and transportation issues in this area, including having the privilege of serving numerous times on several planning and county advisory groups representing this area. I'm submitting more detailed testimony about the following points on why this plan is flawed and should be returned to the planning department. Number one, this very unusual planning process split every neighborhood along the corridor into 2 different plans and has been very confusing. The arbitrary boundaries exclude thousands of residents who may be impacted. Number two, there's an urgent need for professional impact analysis of the planning board's one-size-fits-all proposals that don't provide community context. Number three, the extreme zoning changes for this small area are proposed on the heels of a ZTA that was just adopted and recommends a different set of standards than this plan does. Number four, SHA, who owns and operates University Boulevard, is already working on a project to improve safety on University. The Pedestrian Safety Action Plan for Maryland 193, the only project of its kind in Montgomery County, was underway well before the planning department made the recommendations in this separate plan. Residents have been participating in that study, which is currently in design. Improving safety on the corridor doesn't require a separate plan that proposes doubling the density of the area. Number five, as you've heard, the plan is based on a BRT infrastructure that will not be in place during the life of this plan. Number six, please don't fault those residents who are skeptical that their quality of life and safety will improve with the removal of 1 to 2 travel lanes in each direction on the corridor, while also calling for the addition of more than 4,000 residential units, including upzoning the most affordable homes in the area, which could also put some residents at risk for displacement. 7, so far the planning department hasn't provided the impact analysis of their numerous proposals. Encouraging cut-through traffic into neighborhoods will reduce safety in the neighborhoods. There's a saying I'm sure you're all familiar with, nothing about us without us. And while you may hear about a long list of meetings attended, that doesn't mean there was meaningful participation or collaboration with residents in the decision-making process. In the past, residents worked in partnership to collaborate with planners, agencies, businesses, and other groups to reach consensus on planning proposals. Please return this plan back for additional analysis and appropriate collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll move back over here to table 2, and the first speaker is Tal Karam.
Karam. Good evening, council members. My name is Tal Karam from Kent Mill. I'm asking you to vote no on the UBC plan. First, process and trust. From day one, the planning board and staff failed to meaningfully engage most residents who rely on University and Arcola. The absurdly narrow impacted area defined by the planning board excludes roughly 90% of my own neighborhood, for example, even though we use these roads daily and would bear the congestion this plan creates. That boundary choice produced a predetermined outcome that disregarded the needs of residents instead of community-driven planning. Virtually every civic association opposed the plan and submitted substantive concerns that were largely brushed aside by the planning board. A vote for the UBC plan would ratify that breach of trust. That is why I've joined nearly 1,000 other MoCo residents so far who have signed the pledge at stoptheubcplan.com to vote against any county council member for re-election or for county executive who votes to ratify that breach of trust. On the substance of this flawed plan, I agree with the county executive's recent letter. Planning should focus on expanding housing in places already set up for car-light living, near metro stations and existing walkable hubs, rather than scattering density along a high-traffic corridor where most trips will still require cars or long transfers. I agree with the county executive that we can and should increase housing affordability and pedestrian safety without adopting plans like this one that front-load all of the pain for aspirational gains premised on infrastructure that doesn't exist and may not materialize. The front-loaded pain is most evident when it comes to the proposed traffic changes, which will increase congestion and harm safety. The fact is, roads are like toilets. You're supposed to use them and move on, not sit on them for hours in frustration and discomfort. Reducing speed limits, eliminating lanes, and removing merge lanes as proposed will increase congestion, elevate driver frustration, and create unpredictable conflicts, which is bad for drivers and pedestrians. We've seen this already with the dedicated bus lanes on University, which have led to more crashes, and which, incidentally, were also foisted upon us without input and should be gotten rid of. More time sitting in traffic means less time with my family, whom I enjoy spending time with, and is a quality of life issue that the planning board hand waves away, laughably claiming that their plan will, quote, allow people to access their daily needs on foot, by bicycle, or via short public transit trips. 3 years ago, the entire planning board resigned amid scandal involving workplace drinking and transparency violations. The county executive at that time said he hoped the new planning board would be committed to residents and community input. Instead, we got a new one, drunk on its own power and committed to ignoring residents and community input. Nothing better illustrates their failure than the degree to which they were caught off guard by the intensity of community opposition to the plan they produced. Every member of the planning board should be dismissed over the self-evident failure, and the planners too, and maybe this time we'll actually get a new planning board committed to residents and community input. As an elected official in a representative democracy, each of you should be personally offended by the breach of trust the planning board engaged in to produce a plan overwhelmingly rejected by residents. A vote in favor of this plan is an endorsement of that breach of trust. Vote down the UBC plan, dismiss the planning board, and reform the planning and public outreach process so this does not happen again. Public trust demands it, and the public demands it. StopTheUBCPlan.com. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. James Williamson.
There's an old saying, what is popular is not always right, and what is right is not always popular. This plan is neither. I attended all the meetings, read the plan, and listened to the planning staff and board. Maybe I missed something, but have yet to hear anything about it that is right. And anyone who attended meetings knows full well it has not been popular. I know, there is some support. There are always a gullible few in every crowd who will accept and believe anything they are told. Most of the residents in the corridor neighborhoods were minding their own business, happily living our lives with quiet desperation, until the planners came along and disrupted us with their unwanted and unnecessary proposals. Before this plan, was anyone calling you wanting the Woodmore and Kent Mill shopping centers to be redeveloped with up to 7 to 10-story buildings? Was anyone asking to remove travel lanes along University? No doubt leading to even more cut-through traffic as vehicles bunch up trying to get through the Four Corners intersection or exit Arcola Avenue. How many were contacting your office asking for hundreds of properties not facing University to be rezoned and a more than doubling of the housing units? You already passed the zoning text amendment, which applies to University Boulevard. Now you're already trying to override it with this plan by going several blocks into neighborhoods. This is called a corridor plan, but maybe you should rename it We Can Go Wherever the Heck We Want to Go plan. Tell me how many residents were demanding a change to the road network in South Four Corners, making their streets just an alternative route for University. Who was beating down your doors wanting to get rid of private driveways on University, instead having shared alleyways in the rear for an entire block of houses? My guess is all of you were getting few, if any, calls wanting taller buildings, travel lanes removed, much greater housing density that goes blocks into neighborhoods and negates your less than 3-month-old zoning text amendment, and increasing cut-through traffic in each and every neighborhood. Yet all that plus more is what this plan, this scheme, this sham, this travesty proposes. Typically, Montgomery County increased housing density on a jobs corridor. University is not a jobs corridor. Though we have stores in Four Corners and Kent Mill, people aren't moving here to be close to a job at a retail store or fast food outlet. We also don't need a town center in Four Corners. Stop trying to make us into something we aren't. This has been a top-down approach to planning. They told us. The changes and proposals were generally not supported at the meetings. Stop trying to force something that is not wanted. This is change for the sake of change, not improvement for the most part. We have asked for impact studies on many of these changes, but it has fallen on deaf ears. The planners think they know best. They don't. These are more diverse than Montgomery County as a whole, stable with different types of housing, family-oriented residential neighborhoods. That is why people moved here, stay here, prosper, and like it. You should be happy about that. We are. You pass this, few, if any, will thrive, to use the planner's favorite catchword. To bring it full circle, you pass this, you definitely won't be popular, and you most assuredly will not be right. Please reject this plan and let's start over. Thank you.
Thank you. Sharon Canavan.
Good evening. While our community's views are not unanimous, the survey Northwood Four Corners Civic Association conducted revealed some support for less intense redevelopment, like duplexes or triplexes, but strong concerns about greater density. Housing more closely matching the current 40-foot height limits is acceptable, but there's little support for 75 to 100-foot high redevelopment at Four Corners. This plan upzones too many of our community's homes. Only 48 out of 210 CRN-designated homes directly front corridors. The CRN block in the Dennis Avenue district is up to 1,200 feet long, and it sweeps up intervening courts on several streets perpendicular to University. Along Colesville Road, 29 homes are designated CRN in the second block off of University Boulevard. 50-foot high housing in our neighborhood and 8 to 10-story mixed-use buildings at Four Corners will overshadow nearby homes, most of which are under 20 feet tall. Future redevelopment could also replace starter homes and rental housing with more expensive stock. Redevelopment should include adequate parking. Today, parked cars already reduce passage to a single lane on our narrow streets. Increased density will place more strain on University Boulevard, adding to frustration and cut-through traffic that we face today. Removing 2 lanes of Colesville Road for a mid-intersection BRT stop in Four Corners will worsen congestion right before 30% of traffic exits onto the Beltway. The plan also eliminates a traffic lane in both directions on University. More vehicle idling and extended travel time will worsen air quality, as you've heard. Assembling redeveloped properties to eliminate the couplet at Four Corners could potentially undo poor planning and traffic decisions of the past. We also generally support safety measures such as protected crossings, shorter intervals, and side paths, although concerns remain about impact on homeowners' properties. Recommending limited change punts transportation decisions to the future, despite immediately allowing high-density redevelopment. Reducing traffic lane capacity while adding up to 4,000 residential units along this 3.5-mile stretch seems unwise without a more viable transportation plan in place to deal with the complex Four Corners intersection. The end result could be less, not more safety, as impatient drivers ignore traffic rules and cut through neighborhoods. We need a more workable, long-term solution that balances potential redevelopment with adequate infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you. Jonathan Aguian.
Thank you for the opportunity to address you. My name is Jonathan Aguian. I've lived in Silver Spring for 17 years and exclusively relied on public transit for 5 of those years. I'm dedicated to thoughtful improvements to our neighborhood and look forward to seeing the UBCP reflect ideas from the community that enhance our region. In 2021, MCDOT installed new sidewalks in my community. Last month, I joined Councilmember Glass to dedicate a new pedestrian bridge. These projects enhance safety and accessibility. I support the UBCP's call for a wider sidewalk with trees along a narrow green space if it can be done with truly increasing tree canopy. This will improve pedestrian safety and beautify the area within the existing right-of-way. However, the rest of the plan is deeply concerning. Over 80 people, including representatives from Kent Mill, Northwood Four Corners, Springbrook Forest, and South Four Corners Civic Associations, testified in opposition in February. The written feedback was 221 opposed, 24 neutral, and 18 in favor. Look it up. Montgomery Planning largely ignored or misrepresented the feedback. The Planning Board's failure to engage in good faith erodes trust in government. You appoint the Planning Board and the buck stops with you. I'll add, one of you will be the next county executive. The path to victory undoubtedly goes through University Boulevard. Show us you will listen to us, not hear us. The plan's radical changes will decrease the quality of life for residents. Reducing travel lane speed limits, removing turn lanes, merge areas, and banning right turns on red will create gridlock as seen on Old Georgetown Road and Georgia Ave. I oppose a plan that will reduce the time I have with my family. This will also make roads less safe. The plan ignores the real reasons people avoid using public transit, like a lack of convenience and personal safety concerns. Upzoning for mixed use along Arcola and University will also drive up rents and bring more traffic. The safest roads separate pedestrians and cars. Highways with the highest speed limits are the safest road for pedestrians. This plan does the opposite by increasing driver-pedestrian interactions. Lower speed limits won't change driver behavior. They will only increase ticket revenue. A holistic approach like tackling aggressive driving, enforcing jaywalking, and adding median fences is needed to improve safety. This plan is an attempt to urbanize a suburban area and foolishly competes for population growth and increased tax revenue. Keeping a good thing the way it is not stagnation. Higher density housing does not solve high rents. Changes to 495 access will impede the combined 116,000 vehicles who use University or Colesville on a typical weekday and the 29,000 vehicles who access the Beltway daily from those roads. This for 530 average bus riders, not buses, per weekday along University. Blair High School students should not run across the middle of University, but that's just what I witnessed students doing this morning. If we don't block these dangerous crossings, we are collectively responsible for the outcome. Please consider these 5 concrete proposals. Return right turns on red at University and Arcola, except during a walk signal. Retain existing speed limits and right turn only lanes. Ensure equal access to road for cars and buses. 4, remove Arcola Ave from the plan boundary. And 5, add a median fence on University. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, now over here at table 1 again, we have Sanjita Rangwala, Britt Simontov, Timothy Soderquist, and Eric Gabler. And then at table 2, we have Dara Siegel, Michelle Ertischek, Helen Rittman, and Monica Riaz. Sanjita,
okay.
You can start.
Okay. Council members and Council President Stewart, thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Sanjita Rangwala. I live in the Sligo Woods neighborhood, close to Dennis Avenue and University Boulevard. So I'm just outside the area that's proposed to be rezoned to allow more homes. And I've lived and owned a house here for almost 12 years now. And I love my neighborhood. And I think it could be even better, and I'm testifying in favor of this plan. I love all the parks and the schools here. My older daughter attends Forest Knolls Elementary. She can take a school bus, but sometimes we walk home. And on Fridays, she joins the bike bus. So I want to shout out the Forest Knolls bike bus. It's amazing. We live a very short walk to the public bus stops and the proposed VRT stops at Dennis. And I would also take the M12 to work every day now. And it should be safer to walk and bike to school and work and shopping, and currently it's not really safe at all along University Boulevard. This plan will create standards for widening sidewalks and adding bike paths, which is the first step in making it safer for all of us. So again, my life in this neighborhood is good, and I'm happy I made the decision to move here. But if I was to try to move here today, I would not be able to afford to buy even my 1,200 square foot tiny home. There are no truly affordable neighborhoods left in this county. There's a housing shortage, especially of smaller homes like mine. I would like to make it easier for more people to live here, and I would like to make all our lives here safer, more connected, and better. I have read all 156 pages of the planning board draft. This plan includes common sense recommendations to build housing and make walking, biking, and transit easier and safer. It makes it easier to fit more families in our neighborhoods. It doesn't call for any drastic changes to the neighborhoods. It also doesn't do everything or fix everything I'd want. I wish it was more ambitious about placemaking in Four Corners, for instance. I think it would be good to make it legal to build duplexes through the entire county, really. But as written, this plan is an important first step. So this is a time where when a lot of us look at the news and it's hard to conceive of a better future. I believe a better future is possible in this county and in this neighborhood that I love. I believe we can act with hope, with open hearts, and not with fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I encourage you to pass the UBC plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Britt Simon-Toff.
Hi. Good evening, council members, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Britt Simon-Toff. I'm a mom of 4 with one on the way, and I have lived here in Kent Mill for over 8 years. I actually get up at 5 in the morning to get my kids ready and myself for work that I have to be at from 8 to 5, and I still made time to come here today. The first point I want to address is the lack of genuine outreach by the planning board and staff. They claim that outreach for the University Boulevard Corridor plan included 20 community meetings, 17 neighborhood events, 10,000 bilingual postcards, 1,000 door knocks, radio interviews, surveys, and maps. On paper, that sounds impressive. When I filed a Maryland Public Information Act request, I have basic questions. When and where were these meetings held? How far in advance were they advertised and to whom? How many people actually attended? Which addresses received postcards? What languages? Which doors were knocked on? How many people had the real conversations about the plan? So I just heard from Artie Harris that 250 doors were actually answered. When I get a solicitor to my door, I say hi and bye. So were one of those, the 250 doors answered? For those simple questions, I was told it would cost over $1,100 and over 16 hours of staff time to get the answers. That is unacceptable. If the outreach was real, this information should be ready at their fingertips. This is why Kent Mill never heard about this plan. Outreach wasn't genuine. It was a box checked on a slide. Without transparency and accountability, the process cannot be trusted. I even suggested a better path, a floating zone. That way property owners can decide if and when changes happen to their land. It gives choice and flexibility without stripping away community voice. So why are you listening to people who don't even live here? Many of the people who drafted this plan don't even live here in Montgomery County. They are making decisions for communities they will never have to live in. Of course, they don't mind changing University Boulevard. They won't have to live with the consequences. And here's the truth. You keep saying you did the outreach. You keep saying the infrastructure can handle this plan. But when we check, the facts don't match your words. That makes this more than a mistake. It makes you liars. If you will lie to us about something this big, how can we trust you with anything else? When you swore your oath, you promised to faithfully discharge your duties without partiality or prejudice. This means listening to the people who live here, not rubber stamping what outside planners propose. I'm also one of over 1,000 people who signed a petition to unseat any council member who votes in favor of this plan. We will not forget who stood with the people and who turned their backs on us. I want to clearly say, I no longer feel safe living in a place where my own county council believes they can do whatever they want in my community without even telling us. That is not democracy. That is not representation. I say this now to all of you. Do not move forward with a plan built on missing data, contradictions, and a true lack of engagement. We deserve better. We deserve to be heard. Thank you.
Timothy Soderquist.
Thank you. My name is Tim Soderquist, and I'm a homeowner in the Woodmore neighborhood of Four Corners. I'm speaking in support of this plan. For too long, University Boulevard has been dangerous for people walking and biking. My 14-year-old son doesn't even ride his bike from Woodmore to visit a friend over in South Four Corners because he doesn't feel safe. Thousands of people live within walking distance of Four Corners, but walking through our commercial center can feel stressful, unsafe, and uncomfortable. This plan will help transform our Four Corners community into a place where people can feel comfortable walking and biking to shops, buses, parks, and restaurants. Wide sidewalks for pedestrians, combined with slower car traffic, placemaking, and an increased tree canopy will result in increased walkability and reduce unnecessary car trips. This plan isn't just window dressing on already existing infrastructure, but it will be a transformative, once-in-a-generation change. It will create separated side paths along the street for walking and biking that will allow people to easily access bus stops on one of the busiest bus routes in the region. It will also connect the bike network in Wheaton with coming infrastructure along the US 29 corridor and beyond. Complete streets that serve all users with more housing types, for when we're ready to downsize, for example, would make our area more livable. I'd like to see mechanisms in place that not only encourage mixed-use development, but also help to preserve local, walkable retail. I hope that in coming years we can see a Four Corners and University Boulevard corridor that is more livable, with more people feeling safe enough to move around on foot and by bicycle. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric Gabler.
Good evening. My name is Eric Gabler. I've been a resident of South Four Corners for 34 years. I'm here tonight to express my concerns about the University Boulevard Corridor Plan, which I'll just call the UBC Plan. First, the County Council recently approved ZPA 2502 on the premise that it was a fair and reasonable allocation of rezoning throughout the county. Now, even though there is nothing exceptional about the infrastructure along University Boulevard, the UBC Plan proposes to rezone 4 times as many properties along the corridor than ZTA 2502 does. Now, why should communities adjacent to other boulevards in Montgomery County continue to trust the commitments made by the County Council regarding ZPA 2502 if the UBC Plan is approved as is? Second, the UBC Plan touts its environmental benefits, but will likely not produce the cool corridor it advertises. The Department of Environmental Protection issued a memorandum in August warning that increasing the density of development along University Boulevard will almost certainly contribute to an increased heat island effect that is detrimental to human health and biological resources. Third, Montgomery Planning justifies the UBC Plan in large part as a means to increase safety, but does not explain why the proposal is the best or most cost-effective means to do this. Safety does not need to be improved. Safety desperately needs to be improved on University Boulevard. But there are many safety improvements we can make in the near term without the UBC Plan that will not take years to implement or divert traffic into neighborhoods or otherwise create congestion around us. 4, the UBC Plan proposes the creation of a continuous parallel route along University Boulevard from Gable Street to Lorraine Avenue, largely based on connecting segments of Gilmore Drive and other streets to each other. This new route will open our neighborhoods to much more cut-through car traffic and the safety hazards associated with this on our narrow streets. 5, the UBC Plan also calls for a near-term study on the pros and cons of extending Gilmore Drive from Lorraine Avenue to US Route 29 and beyond to Lexington Drive. The community of Four Corners successfully opposed this extension in fall of 2024, but many now fear that the outcome of the new study called for in the UBC Plan is preordained in favor of this extension of Gilmore. The extension would cost us our Safeway and post office and cause massive cut-through traffic flows into our neighborhoods. 6, and around out of time. Montgomery Planning asserts that nothing in the UBC Plan is mandatory and that each individual can decide whether to rebuild or not. This, I believe, is a naive argument. For instance, decisions by a few property owners to sell their lots would enable the county to make major changes to residential street networks that would affect many residents. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we'll move over to table 2, and we first have Dara Siegel.
Good evening. My name is Dara Siegel. I'm a Four Corners resident. I live right across the street in Woodmore, and I'm here to share my strong support for the University Boulevard Corridor Plan. For many reasons, but I think we can all agree that University Boulevard, as it exists now, needs a lot of work. It is not serving the community. It is unsafe, uncomfortable, and simply unappealing. If you're walking directly next to rushing traffic. There is minimal bike infrastructure. There are precious few street trees or opportunities for shade along the entire corridor. And if you're taking a bus, the bus shelters we offer are minimal and actually don't provide all that much shelter. And all this is such a shame because University Boulevard could be such a great connector. There are so many wonderful local resources all along the corridor. There's houses of worship, great restaurants, great local shops, schools, parks, all these great resources. And instead of being able to access those easily, whether I want to bike, walk, take my daughter on the bus, I'm faced with a car sewer. So here's my request to you. My daughter is 7 months old, which means she will be starting Blair in about 14 years. So I would ask that by the time she starts Blair, she and her classmates can safely cross Lexington to get to school. She and her classmates who live all along the corridor can travel comfortably, whether that's by bus, by bike, by car, or on foot, to get to school, to after-school jobs, to whatever extracurricular activities they do. I'm asking that families of all income levels can find a place to live here along University, that they can contribute to our wonderful community. In short, I hope for University Boulevard that will be a complete street that my daughter and her classmates and all of us deserve, because we all deserve better than the status quo. I want a University Boulevard that serves all of its users, one that goes beyond simply transporting people to connecting our community, one that treats everyone who uses our road with dignity and respect. Thank you, and I hope you'll support the plan.
Thank you. Next, we have Michelle Urtischek.
Good evening. I'm Michelle Urtischek. I'm a Woodmore homeowner and mom to 2 elementary school children. I see our infrastructure as reinforcing the community at Four Corners, which is home to more than 7,500 people. I'm encouraged that proposed changes would facilitate access for pedestrians, cyclists, and public transit users. This corridor is home to 5 public schools, with staff and students making their way, and additionally, from outside the corridor boundaries. Narrower lanes, lower speed limits, and dedicated bus lanes or BRT will prioritize safety and community over speed. With Northwood High School reopening in the hopefully not too distant future and the existing Blair High School, these priorities would benefit students and staff who are already taking public transit, walking, or cycling to school, including hopefully your daughter and hopefully mine. This would all create less traffic than the private cars that we see carrying only a few people at a time into Blair High School every single day. Safety for pedestrians and cyclists should be included in the plan now, not in the future when we need more funds and adapting to a system that prioritizes cars and buses. Better access would encourage people to visit and navigate within Four Corners with the potential to support businesses, because people will visit more than one location. We have a wide range of existing retail shops and businesses which generally do not have contiguous access. I support implementing safety measures now in advance of the plan adoption, such as wider sidewalks on the Northwood side, better crosswalks with improved ADA access, such as maybe a crosswalk with flashing pedestrian signs between Lorraine Avenue and Dennis Avenue. I support using a plan to improve green space and the tree canopy. I'd like to see measures to support ongoing use of University Boulevard and Colesville and discourage cutting through our residential areas. And I'd like to see support of home ownership over rentals. So many of the public speakers that I've gotten a sense at looking in materials skew to older, longtime residents, people who don't have children currently in the public schools, whiter, wealthier. I fill a few of these. My family actually is mixed ethnically. I do not add the color to my family, but we do attend public schools. But older, longtime residents aren't necessarily, and those without children in public schools aren't necessarily representative of our community. Before coming here tonight, I worked a full day at my full-time job. I picked up one of my children from public elementary school, brought that child to a music lesson, went to back to school night, brought that child to my co-parent, and then came here. There are real reasons that we don't see parents of public school children at these sessions. They were busy. Yet we are the present and the future of this corridor. Finally, I have 2 concerns, but I'll say one. I'm appalled by those comments I've seen that equate higher density housing to low income and suggesting or outright stating that either or both of these conditions would lead to crime. These types of comments are dog whistles about people of color that have no place in our community.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Helen Rittman.
Good evening, council members. My name is Helen,
and I have lived in the Kemp Mill community for 55 years. I raised my children here as a single mother, paid my mortgage through divorce and hard times, taught the children of this neighborhood, and built my entire life here. My synagogue is here, my friends are here. This is my home. You may see our houses as parcels on a map, but to us they are not parcels. They are people, families, and entire histories. Even the county executive's comments acknowledge that this plan is being pushed forward without sufficient details for residents to understand what it would mean to their neighborhoods, and that corridor planning like this ignores the master plan process that has always included residents, businesses, and environmental voices in shaping our future. The University Boulevard Corridor Plan does the opposite. It divides established neighborhoods, changes zoning for thousands of existing homes, and does it without the promised infrastructure or protections in place. The county executive warned that this plan is built on a false premise, the idea that we need more zoning to meet future growth. In reality, Montgomery County already has zoning capacity for 125,000 new housing units, enough to house 300,000 new residents, far beyond the 200,000 expected in the next 25 years. So why are we targeting communities like Kemp Mill, one of the most affordable homeownership areas left in the county, when this plan will only drive up land prices and displace the families living here now? The memo also points out that the plan proposes zoning changes well before the infrastructure necessary to support it, including the bus rapid transit line that isn't even planned or funded yet. And on housing, the planning talks about balancing preservation with redevelopment, but there is no requirement for no net loss of affordable housing. The county executive himself said, no net loss should be a starting point, not a nice-to-have council members. Anyway, since I run out of time, I just want to say that I definitely oppose this plan, which I think you can find out.
Thank you, Mr.
Sorry that
Monica Reyes.
Good evening. I live in Aspen Hill, but I'm very concerned about the community and what's going on in the neighborhoods. The University Boulevard Corridor, the Randolph Road Corridor, and the Beers Mill Transit Corridor, and in areas where the residents are people of color and immigrants. The common denominators are the audacity of the planning department and the council members to silence our voices, pain, and suffering, especially now in a very difficult times. The corridor plans are a disadvantage for the community of color in the county. They want to build for new people to be arriving in the near future. But what about us? We are here. We are here already. We work hard to be an owner of a house or rent our apartments. It seems that our places of worship and our skin color is not the light of some council members. They don't see us, that we live in the corridors in our affordable little houses and places. Council member and planning department are more invested in newcomers with the most outrageous plan to displace, erase, and ignore the citizens already in the corridors. They, the planning department and the council member, are not listening to the clamor of thousands trying to keep Kemp Mill as it is. It as a place of worship and their way of life. They are not listening to the citizens of to the areas. They are not listening at the people in Aspen Hill whose backyard property is taken away. It seems to me that the council members want to erase our community, replace our places of worship, ignore the communities affected by their flawed decision. I am against this plan, and I'm against the racist corridors.
Thank you. All right, thank you to both panels. Now we'll call down to table 1, Justin Scheininger, Jonathan Stefanoff, Jules Chaton, Diane Lynn. That's table 1. Table 2 is Angela Patterson, David Schneider, Kissa McRae, Trifton Mill. And Justin, when you're ready, you can start.
Good evening, council members. My name is Justin Scheininger, and I've enjoyed living and raising a family in Kent Mill for 18 years. In all that time, I've never seen our community so distraught about a local plan as we are now with the University Boulevard Corridor plan. That alone should be a warning sign. This plan and the way it has been pushed has left residents worried, angry, and feeling unheard. The UBC Plan threatens to fundamentally change the suburban character of our neighborhood. It aims to reshape it into a so-called 15-minute city, but that concept doesn't fit an established community like ours. We chose Kent Mill because it's a suburb, not an urban experiment. The proposed road changes are impractical for the way that we live. The vast majority of families here rely on driving for schools, jobs, stores, and medical appointments. Prioritizing political goals like Vision Zero over community needs risks creating more congestion, decreasing the quality of life for current residents, and even delaying emergency services when minutes matter. The rezoning proposals are equally troubling. Homeowners fear losing property, and long-standing neighborhoods could be carved up without their consent. So I ask you, if you pass this plan, who are you serving? It's certainly not the majority of the residents of the neighborhoods along the corridor who overwhelmingly oppose it. You would be at best serving potential and abstract goals and ideals while sacrificing the needs of real people who live here and have built their lives here. We are not against housing or growth, but change should respect and strengthen communities, not impose unpopular, harmful changes from the top down. Whatever benefits the UBCP plan might bring, and I respect my colleagues who disagree and support the plan, that there are changes that could be beneficial in the plan, but it needs a totally different approach. They are those benefits are far outweighed by the risks to our roads, our homes, and our way of life. Please follow the first rule of medicine in your public service. First, do no harm. Reject this plan and focus on solutions that don't create more problems than they solve. We came to Kent Mill to neighborhoods like it because they offered a safe, stable suburban life. That is what we built here, and that is what we want to keep. Please don't take that away from us. Thank you.
Thank you. Jonathan Stefanoff.
Jonathan Stefanoff. Thank you to the County Council and all involved in the public hearing tonight. As a resident of South Four Corners for nearly a decade, I appreciate aspects of this plan that have area improvements. I also have valid concerns about several portions of it. But there's none more than one piece I strongly oppose, which is turning Four Corners, this intersection, into a street grid. Since it was presented, the public has spoken out strongly against it. It's been partially removed in the draft sent to you. But Four Corners long-term vision section still calls for a street grid. It calls for a near-term study to continue work on this. Under this design, Sutherland Road, my home, it's the first street off Colesville in South Four Corners. We're behind the post office. We'd get plugged into University. It's a quiet, narrow, dead-end street with no sidewalks. We'd be plugged in for vehicle traffic. This plan's own analysis, and please have your staff look at the Appendix F transportation section, tables 3 and 4. It shows significant traffic increases in the street grid in all three of these neighborhoods, and the closer the streets are, the worse it gets. In South Four Corners, the closest streets see traffic double or more, with peak times on Lanark Way projected to be higher than some areas on University itself. This greatly undermines safety in our neighborhood, and it's at odds with Vision Zero. These are the very streets you want us walking, biking, and accessing this corridor through, and we will be flooded with cut-through traffic. As a father of a little one, I hope one day to feel comfortable walking through along University or over to Woodmore with him, but more importantly, I must feel safe and feel comfortable stepping out my front door with him, down my street with him, and around our neighborhood with him. Whether the grid plan was put in place next month or decade from now, it doesn't make a difference. It's unlivable for us. So I say to the County Council, whatever becomes of this plan, completely remove the Four Corners long-term vision section from this plan. This intersection has no reason, there's no good that comes out of a street grid being put in place here. Or at minimum, protect the most affected streets by preventing vehicle traffic, require any further grid studies to have clear outputs, public communication, and formal community advisory role for residents. Give us transparency and a voice in this. We've raised these concerns, the planning team and the planning board, and this and other aspects feel unheard. Many of us feel like this plan is being done to us, not for us and with us. It's a confusing and congested intersection, but neighborhood streets are not the solution to Four Corners. Decisions made on corridors do not stay on corridors. They come into our neighborhoods, on our streets, and our lives. The neighborhood street should never be expected to carry university volume traffic. That goes for Sutherland, Rogart, Gilmore, Greenock in our neighborhood. The other two neighborhoods here, Sligo Woods with more road connections, and it goes for Kent Mill and Arcola Avenue as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Jules Chaton.
Thank you. My name is Jules Anton. I'm the president of the Kent Mill Civic Association. We represent hundreds of families in Kent Mill. We've had the chance to engage so far with many of our representatives here, and we appreciate those of us who we've already spoken with, and we look forward to speaking with many more. Our neighborhood are not NIMBYs. Most of us are excited about welcoming families of all income levels and support affordability in our neighborhood. Most of us supported or were quiet, neutral on ZTA 25-02. We have two major issues with the University Boulevard Corridor Plan. First, and most importantly, it ignores the needs of drivers. People who commute to work, people who drive to work, who drive to metro stations, who drive to shopping, who drive to school, who drive to childcare, are a significant portion of the Kent Mill community and of Montgomery County. This plan would very clearly make our lives worse. More gridlocked traffic, lower speed limits, removed channelized right turns, road diets, narrower roads, and as our neighbors in South Four Corners note, the possibility of a street grid for Four Corners, which would make getting to the Beltway much more difficult. This would also make permanent a bus lane, even when funding for bus rapid transit is years or perhaps decades off into the future. Kent Mill is a car-dependent community. My house on Gilson Street is a 25-minute walk from the nearest bus stop, and that's not an anomaly. The vast majority of us live a long walk from the nearest transit, and we really do depend on cars to get around. This process should not be a zero-sum game. There should be positive-sum solutions that can allow the additional housing that you seek without making worse the lives of drivers, who are a significant portion of your constituents. A majority of Montgomery County residents commute by car. We're not a small, loud, noisy group. We are most people. Our second issue is the Kent Mill Shopping Center. The Kent Mill Shopping Center has grocery stores, restaurants, pharmacies, a barber shop, a bank, local beloved small businesses that our neighborhood depends on. As drafted by the Planning Department, the University Boulevard Corridor Plan opens the door to have retail altered or demolished to make way for other land uses. Please listen to our district rep, Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez, who has called for taking that out of the plan and leaving the shopping center alone. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Diane Lynn.
Thank you, President Stewart and members of the County Council. I am Diane Lynn, and I am the president of the Wheaton Forest Civic Association, residing on Glenhaven Place. Almost 230 homes are part of our community, which goes along University Boulevard from Amherst to Sly Court on that side of the street. Over 60 of these homes are designated under the UBC Plan to upzone for anything from a duplex to a 50-foot tall apartment building. Under the proposed plan, nothing would prohibit someone from buying several houses or an entire block to create a tall wall of dense housing that would tax county services and choke the narrow neighborhood streets with parked cars for which there is no room. Park and Planning's Q&A document that was emailed with the package had a question number 5, and that answer clearly stated that the proposed zoning change is focused on University Boulevard and not within existing single-family areas that do not front University Boulevard. The map of the proposed changes tells a different story. This is not a corridor plan, but a huge gouge out of an R60 workforce neighborhood that has been around for almost 70 years. Our multicultural, diverse community is filled with government workers, teachers, nurses, and others who sought an affordable, safe, and low-traffic neighborhood for their first home and to raise their families. We are still all of those things. Many owners are now living in their homes as retirees. Without condo or homeowner association fees, we are affordable for residents on fixed incomes. New workforce families have repopulated the community, seeking the same serene environment as original owners. My narrow 12-house dead-end street has been targeted by Park and Planning to be split down the middle, with the opposite side upzoned to an unknown density. How will the new zoning designation impact my retired neighbors? How much more will they pay in property tax? Will they lose homeowner tax exemptions because they'll no longer be R60? Will this new expense force them out of their homes? If they stay, are the houses next to them and behind them going to make their lives a nightmare of construction and crowds? What will become of the renters? What about those of us across the narrow street? Will the value of our homes plummet? I would have never believed that Montgomery County would welch on the promise of existing zoning to an established neighborhood of workforce housing on the premise that they wanted to build workforce housing. Park and Planning says they are introducing zoning changes to provide opportunities for additional housing types, sizes, and price points. Have they not seen Wheaton lately? Apartments, townhouses, and condos abound. Senior housing is being built in Hartzion, and the Wheaton Gateway is due to deliver 800 new dwelling units, including 40% moderately priced dwelling units. I just want to add that the ZTA 2502 that was passed this summer clearly defines what corridor housing is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So table number 2, we have Angela Patterson. No. Is Angela Patterson here? No. Okay. Then next we had David Schneider. David Schneider? No. Okay. Kisa McRae?
Yeah. I didn't realize I registered to say something, so I'm just going to kind of say it off the top of my head. This proposal, everyone has spoke about it bringing more traffic into the area. I have 3 children that regularly play in the neighborhood, go to school at 3 different schools. And my son last December, because of, I have no problem with Sligo Creek closing, but because of that, traffic goes through our neighborhood on Timbrook Road, and he was hit by a car. So I have serious concerns about the traffic and what it's bringing to the neighborhood. I regularly commute. I carpool my kids and their classmates, and it's gotten ridiculous since they've closed that lane on University Boulevard. Also, I walk. After I drop my kids off, before I go to work, I take a run through the neighborhood and walk. And the air pollution, the air quality, I can tell the difference. We're having, more traffic go through with this lane closing. They're going through our neighborhood. So that and just bringing more people into the community. Our schools are overcrowded. They're overcrowded. we're already a tight community, and you're proposing to add more people. So I just really listen to what we're saying. We're not happy. I'm a family. You're proposing to make this more family-friendly and bring more affordable housing for families. There are a lot of families here, and what are you going to do with us? What are you going to do to bring more families? What are you going to do to make it safer? What are you going to do to make this school stronger? What are you going to do?
Thank you. Next, we have Trifton Hemmel.
Hello, my name is Trifton Camille, and I'm a Silver Spring resident of over 20 years, a homeowner in Wheaton for 15, and a father of 2 children. Regardless of what revisions seem like they need to occur to the plan, I want to give my support to upzoning portions of the UBC. We live in a bustling suburb of DC, and attempts to hold the area in some sort of stasis will result in additional sprawl, additional traffic, and additional costs to our community. As someone who has actually shopped in the housing market in this decade, I can say that there is an affordability issue in the county, despite what zoning capacity and forecasts might say. Evidence shows that any additional housing improves supply and brings down prices by either introducing affordable units directly or easing bidding pressure on existing properties. In maintaining the tenor of the meeting, I will skip much of what I previously wrote and close by saying the UBC moves us in the right direction so that our area can grow upward and not outward, preserving green space and keeping our community thriving and vibrant. Thank you.
Thank you. Next set of speakers at table 1, we have Jose Messina Torres, Carrie Kasicki, Michael McKee, and Tim Ernst. At table 2, we have Ashley Schultz, Charlotte Stichter, Cheryl Broth, John Burns. And Mr. Torres, you can start when you're ready.
Good evening, members of the council and fellow neighbors. I thought I would originally do something along the lines of what I've done at other meetings, including for the ZTA, the University Corridor Plan, tell you about my daughters and the street they play on. My actual street about 2 blocks over, it's Merwood Lane, and it would be split down the middle by virtually every rezoning proposal that the planning board and the council are considering. Instead, I'm drawn to this morning, and anybody who took Colesville Road this morning probably encountered pretty catastrophic traffic. That's what we sometimes deal with here. And so my primary concern in speaking against the plan is anything that potentially makes that substantially worse for any prolonged period of time. And what it's got me thinking is that it reminded me of being on a planning board meeting, maybe, gosh, this has been a while, maybe 3 years ago. When it came out, we had a planning board representative there talking about one of the plans, and all the Woodmore residents who were on the call realized no one on the planning board had walked through Woodmore. They were proposing rezoning for Woodmore at a fundamental level, and nobody had ever walked through the streets. They didn't even know how the streets worked. And it strikes me that a lot of people who make the decision about what's going to happen to the Four Corners area don't live here, don't commute through here, and haven't really experienced what it's like to go through here. And so what I would encourage the council and anything that it approves is to build capacity first. And that has to be more important and prioritized over expanding housing, because we know what developers want to do. They want to build and they want to sell. We know what flippers want to do. They want to sell. They don't care if they leave behind a mess of congestion and no parking, no school capacity, or they turn Woodmore into a, essentially cut-through community, because it won't be them living there and it won't be them dealing with it. So that's the first thing I would encourage, is that for anything, the capacity's got to be first. It cannot be, if we build it, they will come. And as for, just as a response to some of our neighbors who have been in favor of the plan for other reasons, like a canopy, building a canopy, or better sidewalks, finding room for bikers. Those are all great things. I actually support most of those things. But just like that meme we're all familiar with, when someone sees a bug in the house, and someone's like, what do we do about it? Burn it down, burn it all down. This is kind of like that for me, where if what we want to do is just make a community more walkable or safer, have better canopy, we can do that without a drastic rezoning and changing of the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Carrie Kasicki.
Thank you for the opportunity to testify. My name is Carrie Kasicki. I'm the Montgomery County Advocacy Manager for the Coalition for Smarter Growth. We advocate for walkable, bikeable, inclusive, and transit-oriented communities as the most sustainable and equitable way for our region to grow and provide opportunities for all people. We're asking for your support for the goals of safe streets, vibrant and inclusive communities, and transit-oriented homes and businesses laid out in this plan and in our county's general plan, Thrive 2050. You do not have to be a traffic engineer to understand that being a pedestrian on University Boulevard does not feel good. There is a wide gap between the experience of being a pedestrian or riding your bike in the plan area today and the community that people want to see, where anyone walking, biking, or rolling feels safe getting around. Community members who were interviewed and surveyed during the outreach process also expressed a desire for thriving local retail, more gathering spaces, and housing that accommodates people at different ages, household sizes, and incomes. How do we get from here to there? That is exactly what this plan is designed to do. It outlines clear steps that bridge the gaps between the challenges that our communities have identified today and what they would like to see in the future. Wider sidewalks, an expanded bike network, more frequent transit service, allowing more types of homes near transit to accommodate more people with more different kinds of needs, and allowing more of the kinds of multifamily buildings that are small enough to fit within the scale of the community, but large enough to support space for local businesses and subsidized affordable housing. This is just a short list of the specific steps that are laid out in this plan to achieve the goal of a welcoming and thriving community. These recommendations did not spring from nowhere, and they did not just come from the minds of the planners. They are a direct response to the needs that community members, the neighbors of everybody in this room, shared, and they spring from our county's core values of accessibility, equity, and sustainability. Each of the measures in this plan is how we get from here to there. And because I have the time, I'd like to share as a kind of moment of personal privilege in speaking for myself and not for the Coalition for Smarter Growth. I'm a young person who lives in this county. I'm paying more than half my income to my rent. Even I was shocked when I started looking at the housing market at what the price of a studio would be, and I do this housing advocacy for my job. And as a Jewish person, I feel very strongly a responsibility to care for other people, to care for the world, even when that challenges me and challenges how it affects my life. And I feel that that strongly motivates my work that I'm doing tonight. And I have a lot of hope for this county, and I think I see that reflected in this plan. So I'd urge you to support the recommendations of this plan as drafted by the Planning Board, and with my CSG hat on, to follow through on this vision for a safer, more accessible, and more sustainable community. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael McKee.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael McKee. I'm currently a graduate student at UMD. For the first 18 years of my life, I was a resident of South Four Corners, pretty much right next to the plan area. I went to Forest Knolls for elementary school. In high school, I went to Blair, and since I was on the cross-country team here, I've run up and down most of the trails in the plan area. In fact, the trail that's marked in purple in Figure 60, I helped to work on in 2013 to satisfy my SSL requirements. So I feel very deeply connected to this area. The odds that I know some of you in the audience are probably it's just 100%. Anyways, I would like to say thank you to the council members present and to the planning board staff, and generally just want to express, especially today, how grateful I am to be here in an environment where we have all agreed that the best way to resolve our disagreements is by talking to each other. It's just an enormous privilege. Regarding the plan, I would like to say that I support it. I recently read a book by Brian Goldstone about the rise of the population of working homeless people in America called There's No Place for Us. One of the many themes in the book is about this idea that you have to be rich to be poor, which refers to the idea that as you get lower and lower on the income scale and the number of places that you can rent at decreases, the more vulnerable you are to exploitation from corporate landlords who charge application fees, aggressively evict anyone who is even a little bit late on their rent, and generally speaking, treat their tenants more as numbers than as actual human beings who deserve a place to live. The only place where I have ever had to pay an application fee to rent at was also the only place I've lived in that's had cockroaches and bed bugs. One of the multiple causes, I want to stress, not the only cause, but multiple causes that Goldstone identifies at the end of that book as being responsible for why this is happening is single-family zoning in areas that are well served by transit. Because of the fact that it is illegal to build apartments in these areas, the unit costs of these homes that are built are extremely large. I had a friend in Tacoma Park whose parents sold their house on Ritchie Avenue, and it was torn down, and what was built in its place was basically the Taj Mahal. Few can afford these new, almost mansion-like homes that are being built. One of the zip codes where prices have escalated most sharply is where I grew up, 20901, which is within walking distance of here, and I think we're going to see teardown start there as well. The only way to bring down market rate unit costs in the context of population growth, which we're going to get whether we have passed this plan or not, is to build more houses, and that is why, even though allowing higher density will not solve the housing crisis that every part of the nation, including MoCo, is facing, it is a critical part of solving the problem. I distinctly remember last September at the AHS hearings, a homeowner told a renter who was still in scrubs that their support didn't make sense because with their income, they wouldn't be able to buy a duplex whether they were built or not. So just to be clear, this is so that I have leverage, not because I think I'll actually be able to afford one of these newly built places. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Tim Ernst.
Michael, I want you on my team. My name is Timothy Ernst. Greetings, council members. Sorry, that's way too close. My family lives near Dennis Avenue between University Boulevard and Georgia. My son is a proud graduate of Montgomery Blair High School. Go Blazers! Go Blazers! By the way, Montgomery Blair High School is about 25% Caucasian. I think it's about 30% Latino. I think it's about 25% African American, probably 10% Asian. But at the graduation, there were about 200 different languages being spoken at the Montgomery Blair High School graduation. I just wanted to remind everyone of that. I strongly support the corridor plan as approved by the Planning Board. I'd like to thank the planning staff who drafted the plan, especially for reminding us about the history of racially restrictive covenants, which were used across the United States in the 1940s and the 1950s to exclude African Americans and others from owning property. We desperately need more housing in Montgomery County. We also need safer roads, safer sidewalks, and alternatives to automobiles. Planning staff has created a vision of how we can transform University Boulevard into a safe, accessible corridor. It would include bus rapid transit, wider sidewalks for children, adults, people with disabilities, especially near the historic Inwood House, which was built in 1976 for people with disabilities. We should be proud of that. If the county stops building parking garages and invests in bus rapid transit, we can incentivize people to take the bus. In my neighborhood, I walk 10 minutes to Georgia Avenue. I take the bus 10 minutes into downtown Silver Spring. I go to AFI and restaurants. It's not very stressful to ride the bus. It's actually very enjoyable to ride the bus. Currently, not everyone can safely access a bus stop on a 6-lane state highway. But if we redesign University Boulevard, Georgia Avenue, and Colesville Road, then people of all ages and disabilities would be able to walk, ride, or use public transportation safely and easily. We can build more housing if we continue developing public transportation on University, Colesville, Georgia, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. One example is the brand new apartment building on Georgia near Forest Glen Metro. Another is the 90-unit residence for senior citizens that I learned about, which is under construction at 1910 by the Faith Community, I believe. 1910 University Boulevard West on the site of a former parking lot. I wish I could get the Catholic Church to start building multi-use housing on Catholic parking lots. That'll be my next project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll move over to table 2, and we first have Ashley Schultz. Nope, we don't. Okay. How about Charlotte Stichter?
Yes.
Charlotte, you're up.
Good evening. I'm Charlotte Stichter, Vice President of the Sligo Woods Civic Association. I'm here tonight as a representative of our association to share with you 4 highlights from a position statement on the UBC Plan developed and approved by our voting members. First, there is strong support within our Civic Association for the pedestrian safety and biking features envisioned by the plan, including wider, buffered side paths and tree plantings along the UBC. However, we were very disappointed to learn during planning board work sessions that there is no intention to require the addition of these improvements concurrent with the development of new housing types. The planning board has taken the position that doing so would be too costly for developers and instead proposed a future taxpayer-funded project. We oppose delaying the development of these improvements. This area is already struggling with pedestrian safety and walkability issues and currently has no off-street bike paths along the UBC. Given current budget pressures, delaying these improvements means they may never happen. Second, the expanded transit options envisioned by the plan are welcome, but the funding mechanism needs to be clarified. Third, regarding housing, our members support the county's goal of creating more diverse housing types for varied populations, but are concerned about the scale of the proposed expansion. The plan seeks to more than double the number of housing units along the 3-mile UBC, which would transform our suburban neighborhood into a busy downtown. Based on experiences in other parts of the county and the lack of a mandate for affordable housing within this plan, it's likely that this scale of new construction would price many current residents, including retirees, out of their homes as property taxes rise. The plan also fails to address resulting impacts on traffic, stormwater, schools, policing, and emergency services. The shortage of sworn police officers within the Wheaton PD is well known. In addition, many schools in the area are already overcrowded. Fourth, we are especially concerned about the plan's proposal to open many Sligo Woods side streets to University Boulevard and to connect Gilmore Drive across Dennis Avenue. Our neighborhood consists of many narrow and winding streets with parking on both sides. Increased access will bring spillover traffic directly into our neighborhood, encourage cut-throughs, and generally cause an unsafe situation for those who live here, contradicting the county's Vision Zero goals. We believe that meaningful and upfront solutions to these and other community pressures must be articulated within the plan before it moves forward. Thank you, and our complete statement has been submitted for the record.
Thank you very much. Cheryl Broth.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Broth, and I've been living in Kent Mill for 19 years and have raised 5 children here. I'm here today to ask for you to vote against the University Boulevard Corridor Plan and any similar proposals. Benjamin Franklin warned us that by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. This plan, in my opinion, is doing just that. Over 1,000 residents have opposed this plan. Large community meetings have demonstrated broad, passionate concern. Ms. Fanny Gonzalez, you saw yourself last month, over 300 people at Odessa Shannon Middle School from all cultural backgrounds tell you they do not want this plan. Civic association leaders testified against this months ago, and we've reached out through emails, petitions, and personal meetings. The message is clear. The majority, the Democratic majority, want this plan. The plan focuses solely on maximizing housing density, ignoring infrastructure, environmental impact, and community needs. I don't see anything in the plan about our electric grid, waste management, and the need for more classrooms. Do you have any idea what it's like to teach a class of 45 fifth graders? I do, in Baltimore City Public Schools. It was not pretty. It was a sad year. We want our students to flourish, and you've not provided a way for that to be accomplished, and you have ignored the needs of our current students. Has there been thought or discussion about how local hospitals will be able to deal with the growth? The personnel there are already overwhelmed. If you tell me you're building the housing so there's room for more staffing, I see that as circular. We don't need more density. We need better planning. The plan also assumes the bus rapid transit on University Boulevard that isn't funded or even officially planned. You're building density based on transit that doesn't exist, guaranteeing worse traffic congestion, and just wait until Northwood reopens. Talk about a traffic nightmare. Meanwhile, you've built dedicated bus lanes to move buses faster, then reduce the speeds. How does that make sense? Then there are the buses and bikes in the car lanes. Will they be ticketed? Increased density before transit infrastructure means more cars, more pollution, and longer commutes. The plan will reduce tree canopy, increase impervious surfaces, and worsen flooding risks. Frustrated drivers will flood quiet residential neighborhoods, as mentioned before. The plan assumes that people will be riding buses. This is an inaccurate assumption. We moved here to use our cars. We are a suburb. We are not New York City with an amazing transit system, and that's okay because we like our town the way it is. We like our suburb. If we wanted to be in a big city, we would have moved there. Large families and senior citizens are not using rapid transit to go shopping, to go to school, or go to doctor's appointments. Senior citizens cannot rely on that. The plan represents unwelcome overreach that ignores the community that elected you. As Ronald Reagan once said, the most terrifying sentence in the English language is, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." Please don't let this be your legacy. Thank you.
Thank you. John Burns.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to offer feedback on the current draft of the UBC Plan. My wife Kelly and I have been homeowners in Woodmore for over 20 years, and we have raised our 5 children here. We value the community and have developed strong ties here over the last 2 decades. Tonight I want to make 3 points in terms of my strong opposition to the proposed plan. First, increasing housing should be in areas that have capacity to accommodate new growth, not in areas with existing traffic issues across from one of the largest high schools in the county. The proposed plans to add bike and bus lanes, wider sidewalks, seems to ignore and perhaps does little to alleviate the vehicles sitting, honking, screaming as they travel in and out of the University corridor during the early morning and late afternoon hours. I'd be curious to know if you've identified a lot of local interest in using these alternative forms of transportation in and out of the area. Second, your plan states a goal to increase diversity of housing options that maintains the character and scale of the neighborhood. I'm not sure how this plan achieves both. New structures ranging from 50 to 100 feet high. It calls for changes to the Woodmore Shopping Center, where many families frequent and where kids from this neighborhood have worked. The plan would undoubtedly create major disruptions to the area while asking us to live through and around major construction over the next several years. The uncertain timelines around a project of this size will have significant and ongoing effect of the families, schools, and the community character that already is here. Finally, the goal to create more housing availability in an area with appreciating home values poses economic risks. First, the new housing units may decrease the area home values, thereby threatening many families' largest asset and financial security. On the other hand, the new construction may create residents that are economically out of reach during these inflationary times, failing to help the individuals this plan targets. The economic risks on both sides seem real and significant. In closing, a focus in areas with empty commercial spaces and/or existing apartment availability may offer faster solutions. To say that this plan, along this section of University Boulevard, would not create more traffic congestion, would not change the neighborhood character, and would not create economic uncertainty for current residents would be untrue. We urge you to consider the needs of the Woodmore community, some who have lived in Montgomery County for decades, before rezoning and upending our unique history. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to the 2 tables of speakers. Now we have over here at table 1, we have Ellendil Heinrich, Paul Werner, Kimberly Graham, Nikki Ajite, Ari Cohen. At table 2, we have Ranan Cortell, Selena Wood, Destiny Ibe, and Noam Kavakis. Ellendale Heinrich, you can start when you're ready.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ellendale Heinrich. I am the Secretary of the Action Committee for Transit. I also live near the WTOP station, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. ACT has sent me to express our support for the University Boulevard Corridor Plan. There are a lot of good things in this plan. There is a lot of room for improvement, but I want to speak specifically to accessibility, as that is part of my life experience. Some of you may have noticed I biked here. I also use a cane. Sometimes I use a rollator. On my way over, I passed by sidewalks that were too small. They were covered in grass. They were in desperate disrepair. And they are sidewalks I have tried to walk and cannot walk on with my disability. Our community is not accessible, especially along University Boulevard. And one of the things both ACT and I like about this plan is that with its provisions for connected walkways and low-stress bike paths, as well as boosting transit, this is moving towards being more accessible. I don't know about everyone here, but I am really tired of seeing my neighbors who use wheelchairs and walkers forced to use the streets. I'm tired of ghost bike installations. I'm tired of people dying. And I'm tired of being afraid whenever I have to go places. I can't drive. It's not an option for me. It's not an option for a lot of disabled people. According to the Department of Transportation, 40% or more of disabled Americans do not have reliable car access. More safe options for walking and rolling help those who cannot rely on cars. Things like dedicated bus lanes, better bus stops, safe bus stops with seating and coverage are very important for the rest of for those who either can't drive or maybe don't want to drive. Just because one person doesn't ride the bus doesn't mean there are not a lot of people who ride the bus. ACT supports the University Boulevard Corridor Plan and will be submitting a written testimony later. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Paul Warner.
Good evening, members of the County Council, and thank you very much for having this hearing. My name is Paul Werner. I have been a resident of Montgomery County for the majority of my life. I actually grew up in Montgomery County, and I'm a proud graduate of the Montgomery County Public School System. And I've come back to Montgomery County to raise my family here because I really am a big fan of the county, and part of what I'm a fan of is the diversity that Montgomery County has. Now, I've lived in Kent Mill for over 20 years and been a homeowner there for more than 15 years. And there are three aspects of concerns I have about the UBC plan that I'd like to focus on. I am very much opposed to the UBC plan, and I hope that the council reconsiders it. So first, on a personal level, I have been driving. I have 6 children. I've been blessed with 6 children, and I have been driving them for the last 13 years in carpool. And I have noticed how much traffic has changed over those years, and especially starting in 2022 when they had the pilot program. I put that in air quotes. The pilot program for a bus lane there. And there was no right turn from Arcola onto University Boulevard, and it made traffic a nightmare. There was one morning where one car broke down and the entire area shut down. It really had a serious effect on traffic, and I saw motorists who were doing things that they would not have otherwise done, which were very unsafe. I can understand the desire to increase traffic safety, but by limiting the speed limits and by limiting the access that cars have onto the road, it is only going to make things worse and from a safety perspective. On a communal level, I'm a part of the religious Jewish community in Kent Mill, and now that is a unique community, and you've heard from many of the members of that community, but I would like to focus on how unique that community actually is. It's really unique not just to Montgomery County, not just to Maryland, but really to the East Coast and to the United States. It is the home to a lot of very special individuals, including very well-respected rabbinic authorities who are really renowned throughout the world and who are sought out. And that community relies on the locally owned business establishments in the Kent Mill Shopping Center, and this plan still has rezoning for that center, and so we have serious concerns about what will happen to those businesses, and if those businesses are no longer able to be there, then that will really challenge the viability of this unique community, which is really a treasure for this county. And on a more general point, for all the residents here, we've heard from some of the other people some of the other neighbors here who have testified today, we're living in very unsettling times. A lot's going on from different types of governments within the United States. And what I think many people here need is they need stability. They don't need their local council making their lives turn upside down. So please reconsider this plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Kimberly Graham? Kimberly Graham? No? Okay. Nikki Ajete?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members. My name is Nikki Ajete, and I live on the part of Inwood Avenue that backs the Sligo Creek Park in this University Boulevard corridor. I was pleased to hear that recently the Planning Commission visited some of the sites in this plan, but was disappointed to learn that my neighborhood, which is directly affected, was not on your stop list. I want to share the reality that this tour may have overlooked. I'm speaking out specifically against the zone change on my street, which I believe raises safety and affordability concerns. We moved to our home 10 years ago from downtown Silver Spring in a high-rise, and incidentally, our mortgage was cheaper than the rent that we paid at that time. We bought in that home because it was the last affordable place that we could buy. I was 8 months pregnant with our first child. We planted a tree in honor of my eldest child's birthday on our property, and have watched now our 2 children grow up in this home. Our neighbors have also seen them grow up, since almost everyone on our street has lived there as long as we have, if not longer. We're part of a stable, long-term community. My street isn't just a quiet residential road. It also serves as an evacuation route to Holy Cross Hospital. Inwood Avenue goes directly there. We know this because our street is always the first one plowed. Parking is difficult because our neighbors own businesses and have multiple vehicles, and as well as multi-generational families live in our neighborhood, which is part of what we love. A fire truck could barely fit through the street when the street is full, and the proposed zoning change would only make this problem worse. This plan also claims to create affordable housing, but we believe it will have the opposite effect. If you look down near Wheaton Mall, where the townhomes were built, they average $200,000 to $300,000 more than what our house cost us. This kind of upzoning, as many have said, attracts developers who tear down these homes and build costly new units. This plan would not provide affordable housing for residents. It would simply create a new real estate market that displaces our community and sells pricier homes to an entirely different demographic. Finally, I want to point out how inconsistent and illogical this plan is. It designates my side of the street for higher density housing, but the homes directly across from us are not included. This same arbitrary boundary appears in many other neighborhoods, revealing a fundamental flaw in the plan's design. This isn't just about our street, it's about a plan that endangers the stability of an entire community. I urge you to amend this plan to remove my street from the proposed upzoning. Please do not sacrifice the stability and safety of our longstanding neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. Ari Cohen?
Yes, good evening, County Council. Thank you for giving the community the opportunity to provide feedback regarding the University Boulevard Corridor Plan. My name is Ari Cohen. I live in Kent Mill. This is the 9th place I've lived in 20 years of military service. We've met before, Natalie. The County Planning Board, so I've been tracking this since I moved to this area, and it's fascinating to me because it just shows a lot of problematic decision-making. The County Planning Board approved this plan after receiving overwhelmingly negative feedback from the community during multiple public events. Yet the Planning Board and county planners were unswerving in their mission to significantly alter the neighborhoods, roads, and zoning rules impacting thousands of residents. I attended the meeting when the Planning Board voted and approved the plan. 2 things were clearly evident. Number 1, the County Planning Board almost completely ignored feedback from the community. Only minor changes to the plan were made, but the zoning and right-of-way changes along the corridor, including changes to the zoning of the Kent Mill Shopping Center and the right-of-way changes within Kent Mill Estates and on Arcola Avenue, were retained, even with the community expressing unequivocally and clearly a full-throated rejection of zoning changes to Kent Mill and the Kent Mill Shopping Center, the planning board passed the plan with those changes intact. Number two, the planning board is unsupportive of sustaining the suburban neighborhoods and the suburban lifestyle along the corridor. It's evident. This predisposition against suburban living implicit within the plan impacts Kent Mill, Sligo Woods, Woodmore, and other neighborhoods along the corridor. In July, the council member, Fanny Gonzalez, graciously came and attended a listening session in Kent Mill. What she saw was a crowd of hundreds of people and standing room only in Odessa Shannon Middle School. What she heard was another session of full-throated rejection of the plan. People are fired up. People across all demographics, ethnicities, religious backgrounds, and socioeconomic situations spoke out against the plan from almost every rationale imaginable. This is not a complex issue. We like our neighborhoods the way they are. We like our neighborhood stores and shops. We like walkability to the Kent Mill Shopping Center. We like our parks and our green spaces. We like our schools and religious institutions. We want improved traffic flow on University, not worse. I ask that you vote down the rest of the corridor plan and engage in a real dialogue with the communities and the community associations along the corridor regarding the safety and traffic initiatives that will help improve our lives, the residents. Thank you.
Renan Cortel.
Hi, good evening. My name is Renan Cortel, and I've been a resident of the Kent Mill community for 30 years. First of all, I just want to express appreciation for allowing us to speak tonight and also for your service. As a county that is deeply devoted to the service of the people, I appreciate your service to us as well. Over the past months, I have attended 4 hearings on this issue, and in every one, the overwhelming majority of constituents have expressed their strong opposition to this plan. The proposal for dedicated bus lanes does not serve the needs of our current residents. Our community is not and will not be a 15-minute community. The jobs people hold simply don't align with that model. Instead, the plan would bring problems, increase traffic, cut-through driving, safety concerns, and environmental impacts. I'm especially opposed to the use of eminent domain in this project. Taking land for a lane that will be underutilized is not justifiable. It will also harm the Kent Mill Shopping Center, which is more than just a strip of stores. It is essential to a specific culture and community and central to our religious practice. Undermining that center would undermine the very fabric of our neighborhood. We appreciate Ms. Gonzalez's support for that as well. Even our county executive, the main elected official of this county, has spoken against this plan. And at every forum that I've been present, I've seen where residents have had an opportunity to speak, vote, or even signal their opinion, the opposition has been resounding. Neighborhood civic associations have also voiced multiple times through voting, each time with clear majorities opposed to the plan as it stands. People move to our community for single-family housing, not for density. We are already living through an era of upheaval in the D.C. area, and this plan would just add more strain to the families who value stability. While I understand and support the need for safety measures, that is not the same as creating more density. Increased traffic will not bring safety or quality of life, it will take them away. I urge you to listen to the voices of the residents who know this community best and who live here. We ask you to please reject the plan as it stands.
Thank you. Selena Wood. Is Selena Wood here? No? Okay. Destiny Ibe.
Good evening, council members, and thank you for the time and effort you have put into the University Boulevard Corridor plan. The goals of safety, sustainability, and economic growth along this important corridor are ones that I share. But I urge you to reject the plan in its current form. While the vision is strong, the draft does not provide enough protection against displacement, both for residents and for small businesses that define this corridor. If we move forward without safeguards, we risk losing the very people and enterprises that make this community vibrant. On the residential side, Maryland's new Tenant Opportunity to Purchase Act already gives renters a right of first refusal when their building is sold. The challenge is making those rights usable. The county can strengthen this plan by requiring multilingual tenant notifications, funding technical assistance so renters can organize and respond within the law's tight timelines, linking county housing resources or financing tools so tenants can realistically exercise TOPA rights. That doesn't create new regulation, it just makes existing law effective. On the business side, we know that redevelopment can push out local shops, restaurants, and service providers. These are often immigrant and family-owned businesses that anchor the corridor. The plan should include parallel protections and supports such as affordable lease programs, relocation or right to return policies when redevelopment occurs, technical assistance and access to capital so small businesses can grow alongside new investment. I want to be clear, we need economic growth. This corridor has untapped potential and smart development can bring jobs, better transit, and more vibrant public spaces. But growth without protections will erode the social and economic fabric. Balancing opportunity with stability is the only way to achieve the equity goals embedded in this plan. For these reasons, I urge you to reject the plan, the draft as written, and require revisions that fully integrate TOPA support for tenants and meaningful displacement and protections for small businesses. That way, the UBC can grow in a way that is both economically dynamic and socially sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Noam Kovacs.
Good evening. My name is Noam Kovacs. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. Despite being a very busy high school senior, I've dedicated countless hours researching this plan, studying traffic patterns, engaging with neighbors, and analyzing data. As a cyclist, pedestrian, and driver, I'm familiar with these roads. I came here today with two main concerns. First, the University Boulevard bus lanes. MCDOT is currently running a pilot bus lane program from Dennis Avenue to Amherst Avenue. When the pilot was launched in 2023, we were promised public engagement and community input, yet the November 2024 evaluation included no public feedback. This stands in stark contrast to the Georgia Avenue bus lanes, where the county conducted surveys and held an evaluation event with full community input before making any permanent changes. I urge the County Council to call for a University Boulevard bus lane pilot evaluation event hosted by MCDOT and SHA with full community input before any final decisions are made. Second, the proposed removal of the merge lane from Arcola Avenue to University Boulevard and making blanket decisions. Arcola Avenue is one of only two roads providing access into and out of the Kent Mill community. It serves as a lifeline supporting efficient traffic flow for residents, public transportation, and emergency services. Removing the merge, even more so today with traffic back to pre-pandemic levels, would create severe congestion with spillover impacts along Arcola Avenue and the surrounding corridor. The current draft retains the turn lane but proposes eliminating the merge. That is not enough. Even with a turn lane, without the merge, traffic will choke. The merge must be preserved to keep the intersection safe and functional. At Councilmember Natalie Fanny Gonzalez's town hall on the plan, where hundreds of residents showed up, there was an overwhelming consensus. The merge is not optional, it is a necessity. Residents understand from lived experiences just how essential it is for the University Boulevard Corridor and Kent Mill community. We are open to creative safety suggestions such as better pavement markings, updated signage, enhanced crosswalks, or even a mountable curb. But those should supplement, not replace the merge. The county has already shown this balance is possible at the very busy intersection of Fernwood Road and Democracy Boulevard, where MCDOT significantly improved safety and functionality while still preserving the critical merge. As Councilmember Jawando beautifully stated regarding this plan, decisions should be made on a case-by-case basis. However, that is not the case right now. Although the plan's boundary covers many diverse communities, roads, and intersections, the plan is still written as one size fits all. For example, no turn red everywhere, no merges anywhere, 20 miles an hour on all side streets. This approach is completely inappropriate. There needs to be true case-by-case considerations which work towards solutions that the community actually supports, not blanket rules. Therefore, I am urging the County Council, especially Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez, in which the district the merge is located, to ensure that explicit language is added to the University Boulevard Corridor Plan, guaranteeing that the Arcola Avenue merge will be retained and that decisions for roads and intersections will be made on a case-by-case basis. Without this clarity, our community risks future uncertainty that could once again threaten this vital access point. I look forward to seeing the County Council advocate for what's in the best interest of the people who reside in their districts. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have our last two tables of speakers this evening. On table one, we have Sheila Shia Craggy, Dean Grayson, Lisa Liederman, Jeremy Rosenthal. And then at table two over here, we have Howard Samter, Charlie Jones, Julia Seeley Hall, and Kevin Shen. And Sheila, you can start when you're ready.
Thanks so much. So I'm a resident of North Four Corners, fitting this in after back to school night and a full day and kids at home and Cub Scouts on Monday. But I think it's really important because, well, first of all, do we really need another meeting about this? I was a student at this school 25 years ago, actually with one of your esteemed council members. And I remember walking from North Four Corners down University to get to school. And I remember when one of our classmates was killed crossing University. And so here we are, nearly 25 years later, and will our kids still face the same dangers getting to school when they're high school students? It just seems absurd that we are still talking about this, that we are still planning about this, when we could finally do something about this. So this 3-mile stretch of road, it has thousands of children from 2 high schools that pour out onto it. And if there were ever a stretch that needed the county's attention to make more walkable and safe, it is this stretch. My 10-year-old is in bed, but he did get to testify at one of the planning board meetings, and I promised I'd bring his comments. So this is his little ride to school vest that he uses when he bikes, which is an amazing program, by the way. Thank you. Please continue it. So he wants to be able to go to his best friend's house, which is across University, and he can't right now because it's not safe and we won't let him bike across University. And he wants to see more upzoning, so not just commercial residential, but commercial, so more small businesses, so that when he is a high school student at Northwood, he can get bubble tea after school. That's his specific request. But in general, we think that there's so much more opportunity for development around Northwood, and we really would love to see that upzoning go a little further. Similarly, I'm here as a sandwich generation representing the grandparents who are elsewhere in Montgomery County. Hi, Pam, if you're watching. And when our conversations about aging and aging in place, we would love to be able to consider modern multi-generational housing in the form of like a duplex or a triplex. Right now our options are a basement or an ADU shed. But unfortunately, this upzoning plan doesn't go far enough into North Four Corners, so we wouldn't be able to take advantage of it under this plan. So I hope it goes further in future plans so that as we continue that planning of aging in place, we can consider that option for our family. So with that, I urge you to take more action, have fewer meetings. I've got a lot going on. I can't make it to many more of these.
Thank you. Dean Grayson.
Thank you, President Stewart and the Montgomery County Council for your time and effort on behalf of our community and our citizens. I wish to express my objection to the University Boulevard Corridor Plan. I'm a local resident in Kemp Mill for the last 20 years, where I've raised 5 children, and I'm a graduate of Montgomery County Public Schools. One of the first speakers tonight referred to those who choose to travel by private vehicle. I am someone who works outside the county and travels by car every day to get to work, but I live here because I love this community. I don't simply choose to travel by private vehicle. I utilize the roads as they were intended to be used in a suburban community. Reducing traffic lanes and other aspects of the UBC plan will make traffic worse and increase cut-through traffic. As any of you on the council who use Waze or another GPS app while in traffic know, these apps will unabashedly send us through side streets to save a few minutes and avoid the types of traffic jams that this plan is going to cause. That will negate the safety objectives that this plan purports to promote. The dedicated bus lanes are woefully underutilized. Increasing housing density to fill those buses makes no sense. How do you know that all those new residents will use those buses unless you're somehow promising a local job along University Boulevard for every new resident? These objectives may be a good one, but the execution is flawed. Lastly, If for some reason you still are inclined to approve the plan, please remove the Kemp Mill Shopping Center from that plan for the reasons advocated tonight by Mr. Zanton and the Kemp Mill Civic Association and others. I support many of the other speakers' articulate objections to this plan and ask that you reject the corridor plan as a flawed effort to achieve otherwise worthy goals. Please don't take a paternalistic approach to achieving an objective while ignoring all the flaws that our community has identified.
Thank you. Lisa Letterman.
Hello. Hello. I have lived in Kent Mill for over 20 years, and I'm against this corridor plan. I'm a single mother of 3. My jobs have never been in Kent Mill. I spend a lot of my day in a car and go in and out of Kent Mill using University Boulevard much of the time. My kids go to private school and are not part of a school bus service. There are also after-school activities and errands to get done during my day. I completely agree to keep pedestrians safe, and adding bridges across the street without decreasing the speed limit on University Boulevard is definitely a way to go. But at the moment, I mean, decreasing the speed limit will add time getting onto University Boulevard, to downtown Silver Spring, to where I am. The University Boulevard plan of having a red light and making a right turn from Arcola onto University, it's going to back up traffic, and also including getting out of the Kent Mill Shopping Center, people who want to go into University, it will even increase time getting out of the shopping center. You're not going to make it into a light because you're going to be backed up on Arcola. It's going to affect Arcola at the same time. I have hardly seen bikers and rarely any buses on University Boulevard. And just for me personally, my life cannot exist without a car, and the corridor plan will create a hardship for me by adding more time that I'm in my car. And being in a car is not feasible and positive for the environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Jeremy Rosenthal.
Thank you. 3 points I'd like to make, though I only have time for 2. First, on housing or upzoning, where I support the UBCP. I grew up in Montgomery County, and my wife and I were fortunate enough to be able to buy a home here last year. Although reducing regulation on housing may harm the value of my home, I support the UBCP in deregulating housing because I want people of all ages, including young families like mine, to have the ability to choose the housing that makes sense for them. Many of the people who oppose these plans due to concerns about their home value or neighborhood character are the same folks lamenting that their now adult children aren't choosing to move back. I'm surprised it needs to be said, but it's because of low supply and unaffordable housing, and this plan can help address that. My second point is on traffic, where I think the plan needs significant overhaul. I was able to attend Councilmember Joando's meeting with KMCA earlier this week. Thank you for making the time. There, the genuine horror of traffic accidents was spoken about. It's a real concern, and I care about the problem. That said, the street racers invoked in that session do not care about speed limits, and they sure as heck don't care about bus lanes. The proposed changes to our traffic patterns will not impact lawbreakers, just law abiders, saddling tens of thousands of us with delays and congestion multiple times per day, every day. Law-abiding commuters, when frustrated or late, rushing to make appointments, take more aggressive action on the road, not less. Decreased speeds, traffic jams caused by overcautious drivers slamming on brakes at the sight of cameras, and the end of right on red add up, and we know it won't mean that folks spend less time at the office. It means missing a toddler's bath time, delays on the way to a recital or a soccer game, and getting home late for dinner with my kids. These are real costs. My wife is currently 39 weeks pregnant and will be rushing to Holy Cross Hospital at any moment. Sorry. She had an awful and complex delivery last time. Yet 3 days a week, Sligo is closed to cars, already adding several minutes on our trip to the hospital. The proposed changes will only exacerbate the problem. We keep statistics on accidents, but no one keeps statistics on a stroke victim who would have had a different outcome had they arrived to the ER 2 minutes sooner, or the mom who didn't get an epidural because the baby was too close to delivery. And no one's counting up the increased emissions, the added stress, and the missed bedtimes, which would impact literally thousands of people every single day. That's the impact these traffic changes would have in the real world, not stopping a reckless and drunk teen in a Camaro. What is needed to address traffic fatalities, if that's what you wish to do, is enforcement of our existing laws, not making life worse for thousands of hardworking, law-abiding commuters every single day and multiple times per day. Councilmember Jawando asked for concrete recommendations for changes to the plan, so here are mine. Revert the bus lane to a normal lane. The statistic shared earlier that it's 100,000 plus commuters and cars on a daily basis versus 500 on a bus blew my mind. That should be the end of the discussion, case closed. Maintain right on red and maintain current speed limits. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, the folks at Table 1. We'll turn now to Table 2, and first we have Howard Samter.
Thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to speak today. It's been really illuminating sitting here listening to everyone. My prayer is that everyone here would really notice and remember those who are opposed to this, to understand, like walking in our shoes, we're seeing the world through our eyes, to experience what we experience and awaken to the fact that there is a reality on the ground in Kent Mill, Maryland, that has been completely ignored. And that is shameful. The Kent Mill area is only 2 miles or so, and there's more Orthodox religious institutions and individuals than anywhere between Baltimore and Miami. That is exceptional. And exceptionalism allows for the exceptions to the rule and exceptional individuals and communities. We have an exceptional community. This plan is a direct threat to that community. It's a death knell to that community. We have over 55 people who are not going to take the bus, and then they're not going to ride bikes. We have many families who take the first commandment in the Bible seriously, to be fruitful and multiply. With 6, 8, 10, 12, and 15 children, how in God's good earth are they going to take a family with all those children using public transit on buses to 8 different things on 10 different routes? It's impossible. This whole thing is misbegotten. Whoever put this plan together, it needs to be shelved. Get a new committee together. Obviously, there are good intentions here, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And ladies and gentlemen, one thing I've learned, I want you to really visualize what I'm about to say, because it's important. I'm 73 years old. People think I'm a lot younger, but I'm a 73-year-old guy. When I was younger, I looked older. I got older, I looked younger. Gotta have my cake and eat it, the best of both worlds, right? But I got to tell you, the closest people to me, the people I cared about the most, I've been in all 48 of the continental United States in 11 different countries. The places I lived most are New York City, where I'm from, which used to have a tremendous, thriving community, similar to Kent Mill, maybe on steroids, because it was like over 100 congregations. But in 1965, I had a beautiful childhood. By 1970, everybody left. Social engineering. This is something that's theoretical. The biggest problem we have in our society is people are taught from preschool all the way through graduate theories as if they were facts, as if they were laws. In science and math, you have to go through a rigorous set of proofs before something becomes a law or becomes something that is implemented. But this is all theoretical, and it has nothing to do with the reality on the ground. So I please implore you to visualize what I'm talking about. All the people I cared about didn't make it to 60 years of age because of stress. Up to 90% of all illness and death comes from stress. And this will create more illness, more death, and more stress, and it's going to be on all of your heads who vote for this proposal. It's a shame.
Your time is up. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Charlie Jones.
My name is Charlie Jones. Our Northwood neighborhood is about 100 years old. My wife and I have lived here for 40 years, where we raised our 5 children. Growth over that past century has resulted in a quiet, pleasant place to live. Also, this 100 years of growth has resulted in a neighborhood that is now filled to capacity with modest-sized homes. Many fine Marylanders have lived and worked here to build this fine neighborhood that speaks well to life in Maryland and to life in Montgomery County. But, as I noted, the neighborhood is now full, never intended to include multi-unit housing that will tax the already maxed out parking and access in and out of the neighborhood. County Executive Mark Elrich spoke correctly when he observed that, quote, "This county was prepared to handle future growth and did not need any trespassing into existing neighborhoods in order to accomplish it." In conclusion, the University Boulevard Corridor Plan is not a good fit for our long-established and stable and now full neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Julia Seeley Hall.
All right. I wanted to thank everyone first for taking the time to be here tonight. It's a late night, but I think we're almost done. I came here tonight to express my support for the University Boulevard Corridor Plan. This is the very first time I've attended or testified at one of these meetings, but I feel strongly about the plan and its potential to have a positive impact in my community. I own a single-family home within the boundaries of the plan. I live near Reedy Drive. For where I live, I should be in very easy biking distance, very easy public transit distance of a lot of good places in Wheaton. Unfortunately, the current design of University Boulevard makes it very difficult to get around in any way except by car. What I've noticed is poor sidewalks, sometimes overgrown with vegetation. There are very few intersections where it is safe to cross University Boulevard, as others have observed. Bus stops lack shelter, and the cycling infrastructure along University Boulevard is not adequate. So I was very excited to see that the corridor plan aims to address these issues. I see there's a lot of space on that road. We have 6 lanes. I'm confident that anyone who would like to drive will be able to do so, and I would love for those of us who sometimes don't want to drive to also have that option. I also wanted to speak very briefly to the zoning changes proposed in the plan. I mentioned that I own a home in the area. My wife and I bought this house in the last couple years. We rented in the area before that. We could only afford to buy our house in this area because we are extremely lucky. We are extremely fortunate. We both work full-time at well-paying jobs. We did not have previous student debt. We don't have dependents. And that was kind of the situation we had to be in order to afford what should have been kind of a modest starter home. The houses, unfortunately, in this area are not currently accessible or reachable for workers or for families, and I think that's a real shame. So it's my hope that implementing the zoning changes proposed in the plan to allow a little bit more housing supply would allow more new people to move in, more new neighbors. I love my neighbors. I would love to have more of them. I hope that we can keep our neighborhoods vibrant and diverse. And that's all I have for tonight, so thank you again for all of your time and attention.
Thank you so much. I just want to check to make sure Kevin Shen is not here. No? All right. Then, Julia, you were our last speaker of the evening. I just want to say thank you again to everyone who is here. This public hearing is now closed. We are holding a second hearing on September 16th at 7 p.m. at the Council Office Building. And then there's a Planning, Housing, and Parks Committee work session that's scheduled for September 29th. And I think that is all, and we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming, and get home safely.